how it is,
Anything
bro.
can happen.
If you guys can
Anything
hear
can happen.
us tonight, you are in for a treat. It is
Mm-mm.
Butt Naked
Big hard sex
introduces
criminals.
Butt
Sex
Naked
criminals robbing banks.
sex criminals with Butt Naked. Anyway, here we
Comic book
go.
talk after
Comic book
dark.
talk after dark
After
with
dark.
Butt Naked all day.
CBTF. Uncut.
CBTF uncut with Butt Naked. Let's go.
On
Mm.
Greetings and
Point your
welcome to the
finger at me.
1-6 Scale Man proudly presents. You know what it is. It is Monday. It's comic book talk with friends where we sit back and we have such a great time discussing things that we love. Comics. It's going to be interesting tonight. We're going to talk about the artist known as the great David Finch. We're going to talk about his work. We're also going to talk about.
You tried to get all sassy and point at the camera, and now your focus is all fucked up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, we'll bring that back in just a second.
Glaucoma
Focus-
talk with friends.
There we go. So we brought it back. Anyway,
Leo's got cataracts.
here we go. Definitely. So it's back. So anyway, we're going to basically talk about David Finch. We're going to also talk about the Ultimates, how the Ultimate Universe is actually coming back, and how that can affect the MCU coming on going forward. We might even slide in this last episode. I forgot that the last episode, this past episode of The Last of Us, we'll probably get that in there if we can. But it's a lot to go over tonight. So we're going to talk about a couple of things here.
Mm-mm.
But before I bring everybody in, I need to tell y'all
Just
a
bit.
story. I need to tell y'all a story. Now, of course, you know, over the weekend, it was
You need a visual aid? I can help you with
Not
that.
yet. So over the weekend, it was Latoya T's birthday. I hope y'all sitting down, y'all got y'all chips and your coffee, and you're sitting next to your loved one because this is going to be an interesting story. So this was Toya T's birthday celebration. So I took her to DC. She wanted to get away. So I took her to DC, so she can have a great weekend. So we, did a hotel, we did dinner, took her shopping, because that's what you do. So anyway, once we get there, we get settled. We settle up in a hotel, and we just said, let's go grab a coffee real quick. So we go to a coffee shop. We were looking for like the local mall. So we had to, we parked, so we didn't want to lose our space. So we just decided to catch an Uber from the coffee shop. Anyway, Brendan calls me while I'm driving. So of course I can't really answer the phone while I'm driving. So I just waited until we got to the coffee shop. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call him back. Now, luckily enough, I didn't answer the phone while I was driving because that would have been a totally different scene. Anyway, I call him back, right? And
FaceTime.
yeah, I FaceTimed him back on the phone. Does anybody out there, any of you actually have a friend, right?
Yes, sir.
That when you call and the video opens, the first thing you see is a comic book with two butt naked people on the front cover, on that cover, having sex. I mean, what can you explain after that? There was not even an intro on that. No conversation. It was just butt naked on the front cover of this book having sex. Now, I'll let him go into detail what it is later on, but I just want to let y'all know I got some crazy friends, man. Like literally crazy friends. Like literally I do. But I guess this is what we do. And on top of that, I brought my girl in on it, and she actually said, "Oh, that's interesting." I was like, "Wait a minute, you agree with this dude?"
Because
She's
she
like, "Yeah, that's
respects quality literature.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like butt naked pages, y'all. I'm telling you, this is incredible. Friends, y'all gotta let me know if y'all got friends like that. Let me know. But anyway, I'm bringing the rest of this panel. Then I'm gonna get to everybody out there, man. But it was interesting. I just thought that I would share that with y'all because it was crazy. It was funny, man. What is going on with y'all? How y'all doing today? What's going on, Vinny? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm dressed. So that's the start.
Yeah.
Butt naked before?
No, well, I mean, there's a lot of butt naked going on, so I just want to you got to balance the scales. You can't
said
have.
You were dressed like you weren't before. If you're
No.
That means
Nah, we have butt naked members of the panel, and we have dressed members of the panel. You got to have a balance as with everything in life. As all things should be.
Light side, dark side of the force. Yeah, I got you.
No doubt. I'm good, man. Just recovering. Had a long weekend over in Penn State. I was in Penn State for Happy Valley Con, doing a lot of drawing and hanging out up there. Probably gonna talk about that a little bit later. And been addicted this past week. I didn't mention it on last week's show.
Did you read this, bro?
Yo, my bad, Vinny, bro. Yo. I just noticed that. Oh man, that boy came right from my closet. Oh my god.
Oh, 1 Pouch Man, that was a good one,
bro.
That was a good one.
I'm drinking early on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Holy hell, Louis LeBitch was like, yo, that's hilarious. God,
oh my god.
Wow. That was funny.
Y'all leave Flint Marco alone.
You know?
Yo, but anyway.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Vinny, I want to say
almost broke my back laughing at that one. Oh my god.
Vinny, I'm a double back.
Yo, he's been trying to get sleep. That's all.
Word, bro.
Yo,
I'm trying to do something this sand and get to bed, man.
Yo, that is
tired of
crazy.
Spider-Man chasing me, bro.
And you know what?
We're setting the tone for tonight right now.
I was trying to figure out when we were talking backstage. I was trying to figure out, but I was like, wait a minute, he do looks like somebody, but I just couldn't place it. And
that green and blue, baby.
1 Pouch Man comes through with the win, bro. He came through with that win.
Next week it's got to be red and white, and you're gonna be Where's Waldo?
Yeah, there it is.
We got
there it is.
We got definitely be
next con. You have the most subtle cosplay ever. Just
I can wear this in my brown jeans and be good with the Jordans.
And that's it.
Call it that.
That's it, bro. Or next week.
I'm in cause.
Or next week, just come through with an all yellow T-shirt, bro. That's it.
That's it.
All yellow T-shirt.
You don't even got to wear the tiara.
You gotta go.
No tiara.
Deep V. You gotta go deep V if you're gonna do that.
Deep V. All yellow T-shirt. No.
You got it like the head. You got to do the whole thing.
You got to do. Oh, you talking about the throwback butterfly collar? You trying to get him with the jacket with the butterfly collar? He got the hair for it. So all you need is the band. You got to do it, bro. Go all in. Go on. Luke Cage. You got to give us, bro. Get you a yellow shirt.
I'm done.
Get you a yellow shirt with a butterfly collar next week.
Oh my god! I gotta wear the metal
the tiara,
little head plate.
Yeah,
the tiara and get the bracelets.
Gotta have the bands. Gotta have the bands.
I got me drinking early. I'm drinking way too early, man.
Yuli the King, you know what time it is. Yuli second kids, you know what time it is, bro. Don't worry about it. Bro, that
funny. Was funny as fuck.
That was hilarious. 1 Pouch Man with the win coming through. There you go, bro. He said Flint Marco, same man. Wow.
Flint Marco ain't wearing polo though. Oh, God.
Bro.
Oh, hot damn.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Hold up. Renstown Latino said Jedi Kid's haircut though. Fire.
Thank you.
See, there you go. There you go.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you. Anyway, bro, how you doing, man? How was the weekend, bro?
Well, I was in the hospital for like 3 fucking days.
Yeah, I know, bro. What happened, bro?
Yeah, my
it's
back,
dangerous, man. They say if it lasts for more than 4 hours, that you got to contact a doctor, man. So
that's it. That's it. But nah, where I got hurt before, I have like pieces of shrapnel in my back still. Okay. So like, they said that it caused me to have spasms, bro. I couldn't even move. When we got back from Jersey, man, like that Monday, I was like, had to go right to the fucking hospital, bro. So
that's wild.
Thank God. Yeah, I had to get a shot and fucking perks and goddamn, what is it? Ibuprofen to be able to even be here tonight. So I'm good to go now. I'm just
straight. Everything is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good.
Okay, that's good, bro. That's
sir.
the most important thing, bro. That you're good.
Yes, sir.
Straight.
I wasn't gonna miss y'all boys tonight. Yes,
good,
sir.
What's up?
Good, bro. You know, it ain't a show without the bro in the building. Come on, you know
No
what time
doubt,
it is.
no
Let's
doubt.
go.
Y'all boys is something else, especially that boy next to me, Brendan.
Bro,
Jesus Christ.
He's gonna take it easy tonight, so we're not gonna see him like dive off screen like the Flash going for a.
No.
He's not gonna be like running for a Cheeks appointment tonight.
No. Oh, I had that before, brother. You an hour late. He sleep. I had that before. I make time for that, baby. Sword back or not, I'm gonna get that.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
I told you late night. Late night. Humble talk with friends.
Late night.
Bro, he said, "Yo, she sleep."
Sword back or not. Late, baby. She sleep.
Same man put her to sleep.
I handle that. That's it. On them perks too. I don't feel shit.
Oh God. Oh.
No. It all started with them naked bank robbers. It all started. With them naked bank robbers, bro.
Sandman put her to sleep. Oh, wow.
They sleep right now, baby.
Oh, come on, man. Yo.
She sleep, baby.
Come on, man. Anyway.
All good. All good.
Brendan, what's going on, man? Like, besides for you
started this shit.
I know, interrupting my weekend, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I actually got a really cool addition to the collection today.
Malaysia said it's St. Christmas.
Sweet Christmas. Sweet Chickmas.
Let me see. Let me bring this in.
So picked
up
always
finding Daredevil gold.
It's the first Elektra.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
I'm actually gonna send this in to CGC in a couple weeks. Have them crack it open, and have it signed by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson, and then regraded and reslabbed. So
yeah.
Where'd you find out? Where'd you find that one at, bro?
I just bought it off. They had it in consignment at
okay.com.
So I
cool.
That up. Yeah, today was actually a good. So I got that in. I got a handful as I'm looking to fill out.
I'm trying to slide that book over there out the way so people didn't see you with that book.
Yeah,
don't even try
that other book.
You're trying to slide it out the way.
Bring it up. No. You already know what we're trying to talk about. Put that book up. Show them what we're talking about. Everybody think we crazy tonight. Bring up that book.
Get the censor ready.
No alias run.
Nah. Don't try to prolong this. Don't even try to.
He trying to cover
that's the wrong
cover on this shit.
That's the wrong pink cover.
He tried to slide.
There it is. Now, so what happened? Open to that page.
Think pink.
I don't think I can show that page. Leia will get demonetized if I show.
Yeah, don't show the page. Don't show the page.
I can't show the page. What?
Don't show the page.
Shit.
But do you not like art?
There's a book that I'm reading right now. I'll explain this to you guys.
Does YouTube not appreciate art?
All right, Chip Zdarsky, the guy who is currently writing Daredevil and Batman, Marvel and DC. He's done a lot of great work, including Howard the Duck. And then Matt Fraction, who his biggest, claim. I mean, he did a great job on Immortal Iron Fist, but he also did that infamous Hawkeye run that is pretty much the best that Hawkeye has ever been done.
He's trying to sugarcoat, y'all. He's trying to sugarcoat.
Nope.
Yeah, he's trying to hold out. On the way to hold out.
Creators of a series called Sex Criminals for Image Comics. And it was 30 issues, but the last issue they skipped to number 69 because they wanted to finish at 69. And it's collected in 3 hardcover editions, and those 3 hardcovers
you stop saying hard, bro. Stop.
Hard Sex Criminals.
Oh my
and
god!
The Image logo, and then the text and stuff. I mean, you can kind of see what that looks like. It speaks for itself. The premise of this book is that two individuals find out that when they, let's say, reach completion, they freeze time. So when you then find somebody else, who you're attracted to, who has that same ability, what do? Well, you freeze time, and you rob banks. So, I mean, as we all would do.
That's how you do
it. So this is an unbelievably good, entertaining, funny, but actually heartfelt and really well-written series.
Let me give you some elevator music.
With also some very amazing and fun artwork, as you can imagine, because they don't hold back. Like I mean, not gonna lie, look, there's a lot of dick in this, okay?
Pause.
There's a lot of dick.
Hashtag pause.
Pause.
There's some cheeks. There's some twerking. There's some insertion. There's a lot of stuff going on in this. I'm not gonna lie. But
can I get to the yams?
Really good, really well written. I recommend that you go and see. Now, I told them when I bought the first volume in a store, I brought it up to the counter, and the girl behind the counter sees me hand her a book that says "Big Hard Sex Criminals." I don't think I made a fan that day. I don't think she was my biggest fan, but is what it is. The book itself is great, but here's the thing: if you pick this up, okay, little trick for you. If you're ever out in public and you want to read, but you don't want people to judge you for reading something called Big Hard Sex Criminals, right? I mean, I don't know why anybody would judge somebody for that, but take the slipcover off, and the hardcover underneath has a very benign cover, okay, with the title "Down Boy." Nice little beautiful picture there. And Down Boy.
What the hell?
When is it a good time to euthanize your pet? Is it ever not a good time to euthanize your pet? And it's time to take the ultimate step every pet owner must take: recreational euthanasia. And this book gives you the step-by-step information on how to do it. And
I think the euthanasia are illegal.
A lovely picture of Matt Fraction, Chip Zdarsky, and their pet cat right on the back there.
Yo.
I'm just saying,
that's hilarious.
It is an absolutely wonderful book. My wife actually gets a kick out of it.
I wonder why.
Miss LaToya T thought that it was very interesting, and I think she's a convert. I think she's going to want to read this, and then Lael will. And I'm telling you, it is it's a good book. And right here, this is like the fucking thumbnail for this episode. Boom, Big Hard Sex Criminals, baby.
That beat was fine. I'm over here rocking like, okay.
I'm just saying,
I'll get it.
Yo, anyway.
You wasted all that money on a trip to DC, and you could have got her that book.
You don't even want to know how much money I spent.
Available
DC,
now.
Man, anyway, bro.
Man.
Shout out right now to Rockamon Chris with the $50 bomb. Thank you so much. Just wanted to throw out a recommendation. If you haven't read it, check out God Country. Fantastic quick read that could easily be adapted into film, and I hope it does someday. Definitely, bro. That would be dope.
I wouldn't be surprised if that one gets adapted. You're right. That
definitely would be dope, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely not the book you got. I'm talking about this one.
Well, God Country to kind. Yeah. You got to read God Country to kind of balance it out.
You do.
Read Sex Criminals, a little God Country, and then...
This book is going to single-handedly resurrect Skinamax. Okay? Skinamax is coming back. Right here.
Yeah.
Skinamax, baby. Yeah. Like, back in the 90s, man, when you had, like... And then on HBO, you had, like, Red Shoe Diaries, or if you watched, like, USA Network, you had Silk Stockings. Come on.
Yeah, if you heard the saxophone, it was on. If you heard the saxophone, you know
it's Taxi Cab.
That's what I'm saying.
Taxi Cab Confession.
Yeah, see, Marvel had the Max line. Image got the Cinemax line.
Yep. And again, USA, man, come on. If you were a teenage boy in the 90s, You're lying if you say you didn't watch Silk Stockings. Okay, on USA Network.
Everybody watched that.
Phenomenal.
I didn't watch it.
Everybody watched
You
that.
are full of shit.
Nah, Leo didn't watch it.
When it's in the morning.
See, stockings are feet adjacent. He probably didn't watch it.
You're right.
Shit.
Exactly.
Silk
Anyway,
I did.
Come on.
let me address the chat real quick. We got
What's
Lewis
the dog?
Lebitz in the building. We got my bro,
man.
Rakamon
Yep,
Chris,
right.
man. Thank you for the super bomb you threw in there, man. I appreciate that. We got Skillmonger. We got Yuli the second kid. Ren's Talentino, which I got to show y'all, one of his amazing photos, paintings that he actually did. I think this one he actually did with his eyelids. So I'm gonna actually show you that later. We have Late Bloomer in the building. We got William Owens. We got Skillmonger. Russell John
William
is in the
Owens,
building.
I can open the book. The pages aren't stuck together. See, you're getting nasty. You're getting all nasty.
We got Chris Rodriguez.
Gotta get that shit
in the
laminated.
building. Russell John, 6 scale. We got one pouch man in the building. Who else we got? We got Kate Carter in the building. Fat Batman Collecting Nightmares in the building. Who we got? Late Bloomer. Austin Nichols is in the building. Thank you for being here, Austin, my bro, all day. Malika Mabane. Who else do we got? Calvin is in the building. Calvin Low Key Collectors in the building. Thank you for being here, bro. Who else we got in the building with us? Collector Entity is in here. Thank you for being here, bro. As always. Amber May is out there. Amber, this time it wasn't Vinny on the show, it was somebody else. We got Skillmonger out there.
I was good.
We got Beam in the building. And definitely, man. Did Leo say giveaway? No, I didn't. We got Let's Get It in the building. We got Skywalker, man. Thank you for being here, bro. Russell John. Two Ferns in the building. I'm calling 2 Chainz. Two Ferns is in the building. Thank you for being here. 2 Ferns. 2 Tears in a Bucket is in the building. Thank you for being here as always, man. Benjamin E. Green Walk himself is in the building. Thank you for being here, bro. 4th Mr. E. Austin Nichols. Let's see who else we got in here, man. Yes, and many more are actually steaming in here.
Leo, just to address 2 items. One, Late Bloomer said, "Are there any yams to offset all the eggplants?"
That's an important question.
Asking for a friend.
Can I get to the yams?
There are yams aplenty. It's like Thanksgiving up in this shit. Okay, there are a lot of yams. Okay, so don't worry. You both sides are satisfied. Okay, and everything in between is something.
There you go.
And then
we got Late Bloomer who said I was an HBO Cat House type of guy. Oh shit!
Watching Real Sex. And,
they had Real Sex.
Real Sex. Yeah, Real Sex 478. There was hundreds of them.
And what's the one they had about the in Vegas? They had it was about the ranch with the hookers in Vegas.
Oh my God, there are so many of them, man. There was one night I turned it on and they were all octogenarians. It was like a circle of naked 80-year-olds dancing stuff. I was done with Real Sex at that point, but
that was Real Sex. That was Real Sex.
They were trying to put the real in Real Sex.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, pretty much.
When keeping it real goes wrong. When keeping it real goes wrong, sex number 80.
One other thing in the chat, and it actually relates. So Lewis Libet said. Now there's a quote for the back cover, so I'm not sure which he was saying because there was a lot of shit that was just said that could be construed as that.
Oh God!
But it's funny because he says that because related to Chip Zdarsky, even though it wasn't this book, I was watching an interview with him last night, and he was talking about the omnibus format. And with the YouTube channel, Near Mint Condition, run by this guy Omar. It's a great channel if you're into omnis and stuff. Definitely check it out. But he was doing an interview last year with Chip Zdarsky, and he was talking about and his whole channel is based on omnis. And Chip had said in an interview before that he didn't like the omnibus format. And so Omar jokingly was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Now I got to redo my whole channel. You don't And Chip Zdarsky was like, "It's not that I dislike it. He's like, I'm a bed reader though. I read in bed, and it's I'm trying to read an omni in bed, and this book is crushin' my nuts." Yeah. So then Omar's wife, who's on the stream, she's like, "Well, that's the best pull quote for a dust jacket ever. The next omnibus is just gonna have Chip Zdarsky. This book is crushing my nuts."
Yeah. Plus they got the perfect setup. Just call it omnibus or compendium. They're gonna do something with it. They
absolutely have to. They for this. It's definitely This book is busting my nuts, something like that, you know.
Anyway, man, thank you guys, everybody out there being here, and this was an interesting opening to a show, but it was fun and hilarious. You know, from Sandman to butt naked, like it's all in. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. Now, again, we always start with our artist of the week. And we do basically give a shout out for the work. And I'm just surprised. I was talking to them backstage. I was like, yo, I'm surprised that he wasn't actually at the top of the list. And again, we got the Baldini Mussolini himself, who stands in great company with Butt Naked and Vinny, the guy known as David Finch. This man's work is legendary and is incredible and amazing. I love Finch's work. There's one particular cover that I wanted to actually bring up here really quick. Not even a cover, it's a piece of art. And if you ever seen this, Vinny, like I always say, like, this was my favorite depiction of Batman and the way it actually looked. This right here, bro, oh my God. I don't know why what it is about this, bro. This is effing amazing. Yeah, bro. Incredible, bro. I love this. I always did. I actually have this print, but I actually have the print, and I also have the uncolored version as well. But yeah, bro, it's definitely my favorite. Finch, and bro, like, he's a cool dude. Like, he is really
he's real cool, bro.
A cool dude, a cool, interesting dude, bro. Like, straight up, really laid back. His interest in art itself, and he was like one of the biggest things that I remember him saying, and this was at like Supernova back in Australia. He was like, bro, like, I don't do something unless I can have fun with it. I don't do anything that basically is going to cause me way too much stress. So whenever he said, I'll always basically collaborate with the writer, but I want them to tell a story that, again, I want to basically complement the story. So if the story's fun, he said, that's when I'm actually at my finest. He said, not that I don't really get into everything else. He said, but I just love the simple fact that, and what he meant by fun is like, if the story is like really, really, like, if it's something that's interesting, a different take on it, he wants to draw the character according to it. But he's a real laid back dude, bro. Definitely. All in. Let me see. Hold on, let me see, bro. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Yeah, that's him. That's the guy, bro.
Mad cool, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely
cool. He signed mad stuff from that day too, bro. Good dude, man. We talked about everything. He loves drawing fucking Batman and Superman. I asked him about that.
I can't unsee it. I'm sorry, I just can't unsee it, bro. I can't unsee Sandman.
Oh, it's here. I'm here. I'm here, baby. I'm here.
It's Polo.
I stood around putting him to sleep. Oh yeah, he don't wear. He don't wear the polo, baby.
Yeah, definitely. But what were you talking about, David? Though
he was cool as hell, bro. I talked to him for like maybe like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, dog, like about everything. And I was asking him who's his two favorite characters. So he drew like mad characters. He said, to be honest, he loves Batman and Superman to draw both. He loves drawing them, though. That's just
he loves Batman, bro. Yeah,
dude. His Batman stuff, I think him and Jim Lee are like a tie, bro, to me. Like, as far as how they draw the Batman, them two together, man. I mean, if they worked on the book together, I don't even know how it would turn out. It'd probably be like one of the best-selling art books for them two combined on the book, man.
Bro,
cool cat, real nice guy.
He's definitely a cool cat, like really, really laid back. But his art, like, his art style is definitely impeccable, bro. Like, he's a genius with the pen and ink. Definitely incredible. Vinny, what's your take? And then when you, because I know you met him like a couple times, right?
Yeah. He's a beast, man. His detail is impeccable. He's just like one of the sharpest in the game. Just tremendous detail and compositions. And one of my favorite runs of his is Moon Knight. So like his Moon Knight stuff was just impeccable. Like it brought back a lot of attention to the character. I feel like a big part of why there is even a Moon Knight show right now is because of how much hype and attention that Moon Knight run that he did. I mean, because that got Moon Knight and back in people's mouths after that run. And I was bummed that he didn't spend a longer time on that book because, we've talked about it before with the Moon Knight show. Like, that is a big part of what just tends to happen with Moon Knight in the comics. It just gets, rebooted, and that run was fire. It was just incredible. I'm going to show you this Moon Knight print I got too. This got. Hold up, pull me up real quick. I want to just show you this.
You just wanted to keep Jason solo.
You wanted to show me my polo.
I was searching for something. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, look at this, man. That's just insane.
That's fire, bro.
That's just insane.
That's fire, though.
And then, of course, I got, that cover.
Yeah.
So,
I got
like,
that one.
they're, we met him at New York Comic Con a couple years ago, and, he was just real cool. He was super, swamped. There had so much going on, and I just love his stuff. He's super talented, super attention to detail. It's one of the hottest artists in the industry, obviously. And like you said, he's also a cool guy. So, I mean, it's definitely one of the current, leaders in the biz right now. When you want a book to sell, you want somebody hot on the book, you want to bump up sales, there's a small handful of guys who's guaranteed to put your book on top, and Finch is one of them.
Bro, it was crazy. Like, when I went up and met him and just had a conversation with him, right before I started talking to him, he looked at me because I was looking at him, and he looked at me. He was like, I know. He said, no, I don't know what you did last summer, and I was not in Scooby-Doo. And I was like, what? But I was like,
wow.
Okay.
Wow. He got joked.
I was like, okay, I get it. Because you can see it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a funny dude, bro. He's funny.
Yeah, he's cool, funny. Man.
He's definitely a cool, laid back dude. Butt naked, bro. You enjoy his work, man?
I when you mentioned David Finch, for tonight, I was like, oh fuck yes, because like everything everybody's mentioned. But I agree with Vinny. It's like, I love his work on Batman. I love his work, that he's done in other Marvel books, Avengers, stuff like that. But for me, it's all about Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, and I'll tell you right now, like, I know it's not a popular opinion, but to me, and this exemplifies it right here, I like David Finch's Spider-Man more than Todd McFarlane's. By a mile.
Oh, wow.
I love the way he would draw Spider-Man. And like Vinny said, if you don't know that much about Moon Knight, or if your introduction to Moon Knight has literally just been the show, I cannot recommend enough. Pick up this Omni right here. This is Moon Knight. It's Charlie Houston, Benson. Like, it's an absolutely phenomenal run that leads right in through and beyond Civil War and Shadowlands. And it is absolutely phenomenal. But like, the artist, another character that he only has done in limited times, but that he does so well, Taskmaster. Like, his Taskmaster here in this, like, there's a glare on it from the light there, kind of, but like, his Taskmaster is so good, and it's so brutal. The way he draws, like, this volume of Moon Knight is so bloody and so graphic and violent. And it's like, he only did the art on the first like 8 or 9 issues, but he did it so well, and you could tell that it was like, it carried his style, and what he was trying to accomplish with it carried throughout subsequent issues. The way he draws Mark Spector right here being so vulnerable and like at the feet of the statue for Khonshu, and as drawing Mark Spector as a broken man and trying to become Moon Knight again, and then the blood and guts in this, like when he shows like Moon Knight carving, that crescent moon into people's heads, when you see the blood in this and like just the crazy violence, you see this, and like the way he draws Khonshu taking the form of Bushman, with his face cut off when Moon Knight cut his face off. Like it's so good. His it's just a very visceral style. And I think he was just born to write for certain characters. And the funny thing is, he's never really done a really long run on any one book. He bounces around so much. I think I might be mistaken, but I think the longest time he's ever spent on one book was Ultimate X-Men, actually, which is kind of fitting, that it's in the Ultimate Universe for the rest of the talk tonight. But yeah, it's he only does like 5-10 issues at a time, and then moves on to something else. And sometimes it's only like 2 issues that he's on a book. And then he'll go into a stretch where he's just doing covers, but like his work is just so good, and it's very recognizable. He's got that style that, just like if I look at something and I see, well, that's Alex Ross, or that's David Mack, or that's Gabriel Delato, right? It's like, that, okay, that's David Finch. Yeah, I mean, in any book, the way he draws blood is one of those, it's thick. Like it's like
thick and sticky, like
out. Yeah,
it looks so real. It makes it look so real, bro.
Yeah, shout out to Yuli's second kid for reminding me of this book, because I have it. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And the light and shadows, the way that he does that too, so that, and he really controls where your eye is drawn, and he also does a good job with depth of field and with motion. So like when one of those crescent moons is being thrown by Moon Knight, how everything else is blurred out as it's moving in the frame. He's very cinematic in what it's like he's looking at it through a camera lens. The way, and I appreciate that coming from a cinematography background. And it's so captivating. And yeah, I absolutely love his stuff. But Moon Knight by far is my favorite that he does, or that he's done throughout his career. And then, like I said, Spider-Man, I know he hasn't done it a ton, but I like his Spider-Man more than Todd McFarlane's. It's just that damn good.
Yeah, he's definitely, I mean, just his run, and even like the Ultimates cover, for the X-Men, again, it's always it's like he makes it like cinematically, like it's sort of like he's taking references from, it's like almost in some cases like art photorealism from a certain aspect, but it's just the detail to texture, musculature of a character. Like even when you look at right now Sabretooth, bro, like he just looks menacing, bro, and it's like high gloss on these characters is just so phenomenal.
What
he makes me feel like I'm in a room, man.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's that kind of sense of like the art style that was prominent in the 90s. Where it's just like this over exaggerated, like big, muscle bound, can't turn to wipe my ass kind of, characters. But he draws that like really detailed and thick, like musculature, but he does it in a way where there's a lot, like I said, the way he works with light and shadow, and it feels like, okay, these guys are menacing, these guys are vicious, these guys, there's power and raw violence here, but it doesn't feel like that kind of comically in a comedic sense. I mean, like over exaggerated way where like some characters in the 90s, the way they were drawn, it was like, okay,
Liefeld.
All right, Rob Liefeld, easy with the boner pills, relax, right? Like the way he draws these characters, is just, I mean, look at the way Hulk's face is drawn on the side there. I love that, and just the veins in the neck and stuff, and that
like the intensity, bro.
It's the way he uses that texture, man. It's so saturated, man. It makes it look like it's a real like you're in there watching them about to kick your ass or something like that. The way he draws them, bro, and the just the texture and the way he, it's so heavy, bro. Like it's like you're in the room with them, man.
Yeah,
like looking at like a movie.
He makes look at you, Blob. He makes things that are ugly look
good
being ugly, right?
Yeah.
He's just it's such great skill.
Yeah, he's definitely a cut above the rest. And one of the best now. Like, I mean, we're talking about best now still living individuals who is just completely incredible. As far as his work. And it's always interested to see like a Finch run, like when you basically see that his name's on the cover, you're like, okay, cool, this is going to be I gotta get it because it's definitely going to be one of those runs that you have to experience, and it's coming from like a well-known artist who's extremely humble. But it's like night and day when you look at, like you mentioned earlier, Brendan, you were talking about like just the artists from the 90s, how Rob Liefeld was like over exaggerated, muscular, and they were talking about how he was, and Rob Liefeld's known for not being able to draw feet. He couldn't draw feet for the sake of life.
Feet, hands, back. He couldn't draw backgrounds, shoulders, most of it. He just he's super muscular, but not proportions. Just never read an anatomy book in his life, but he was
Cable was crazy back in the day.
What you said, Vinny, the backgrounds always kind of annoyed me with his stuff, because it's like there are artists who don't do very detailed backgrounds because they're like, I just want you to focus on this, and this focal point, but they do it in a way where it feels like they're doing it because they want you to focus on this, not because they can't draw.
And artists who'd rather you focus on the character or the story might black out a background or put something like, purposefully, irrelevant in the background. Liefeld would just draw like 3 hatches and be like, 3 lines and like that's every background. I mean, you pick up any Liefeld comic and look for
a Liefeld background.
Pick up any comic and look for a background.
Substance.
Doesn't have it.
And if you can't do that though, like, and again, that was one of the things that like I was never a massive Rob Liefeld fan when it comes to the art, because it was like there was never anything there was never anything added to the story by where the characters were in a panel. It was just like, here's the characters, but everything behind them, it was just like, whereas like again, David Finch with these Moon Knight ones, he fleshes out the where Mark Spector, where Moon Knight is, so you feel like you're in these dark, gritty.
You feel like you're in a grimy ass city, New
York.
You feel like you're in a grimy fucking city if you read the Moon Knight book, like you should.
It's a completely different New York City than you see in Spider-Man books, right? But it's done intentionally to give you that feeling that goes with the storytelling. So it's like the background in the panels are just as much a character as the actual characters of Moon Knight or Batman or something like that. You feel like you're in Gotham. You feel like you're in New York.
And you're right
darker, grittier side, man.
Right.
Yeah, I like how he's rolling.
I can't think of a single time where I felt like where I was reading Rob Liefeld or others, not just to single him out, but like he's probably the most well-known in that era. But there were, guys like him where I never felt like I was actually in the place where the book was happening. I felt like I was just externally watching characters, but they could be anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, we don't knock him, but again, like it's polar opposite. I know you do.
Vinny is funny, bro.
But Vinny can't stand.
I mean, he invites a fair amount of it because he goes after a lot of other writers and artists, like
all the time.
We're talking about how humble Finch is, despite being such an amazing artist.
Yeah.
Right.
Liefeld is super cocky, despite being one of the most critiqued, horrible artists that have ever been in the industry. But because he's had success, despite his artistic shortcomings, he's very, very abrasive and very cocky, and has made lots of waves with lots of people who are known for being cool. So
he brings a lot.
He brings a lot of it on himself, and I don't feel sorry for any of the critique he gets because it's mostly constructive and true. I don't knock him as a person. I just knock him as an artist who, takes away work from people who would be much more enjoyable to read. Yeah. That's all.
I think Cable is a perfect example with Liefeld, where
I just said that
like big bulky version of Cable.
Also, every character he has that people say, he sucks as an artist, but he gave us X. And that character was never cool until somebody else came along and wrote
that's
him better.
What I was gonna say
drew it again.
I like Cable being that big, muscle bound dude with the BFG and stuff like that. But I feel like he had the concept, but it was executed so much better after he moved on and other people were drawing.
And somebody else drew it.
He gave the genesis for it. But what I grew to love about the character came from artists after him.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a Cable, Shatterstar, Deadpool, and what's the boy? Cannonball. He sounds like that big thing on his head. Like, what's the
X Factor? Yeah.
Yeah, like
X-Force, sorry.
Yeah, X-Force. Yeah.
It was, it was one of those things where when you first saw it, even like with Wildcats and everything that he actually did, when you first saw these characters, and the first time you actually saw X-Force the way it was drawn, it was like, all right, cool. You get a chance to see these characters.
Yeah, I jumped on it.
But once it started getting going, it's like, okay, I've seen this. You're not switching anything up. I don't see any differences. Like you're making these things larger than it's like, even like, what he did, like there was a couple issues where he actually his take on Strong Guy. And I was like, yo, the way you drew that dude was like really, and it was like when he drew that version of Strong Guy, they took it and ran with it and kept with that same scheme based off of what he drew. And I'm like, why are you doing that? It was only later on, when Strong Guy basically took over Hell at that point, is when we saw him drawn a decent way. But it's.
And see, Deadpool for years was Spider-Man with ninja swords. I mean,
that's it, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't get distinctive until he passed on. Somebody else drew him. You know what I'm saying? So
while we're talking about Finch, though, like this is dope. But I also want, like, we talked about his work on Avengers, like Spider-Man and other characters. We showed some stills, but to specifically recommend, like, if anybody wants to get into checking out some of his stuff, his run with Bendis when on Avengers Disassembled is one of the important arcs of the Avengers history that was right around the time they were leading up into MCU. So that was a huge jumping on point for a lot of people for Avengers because the book had been stagnant. They brought Brian Michael Bendis in. That was early in his Marvel career, and one of the things he did was just blow up the team dynamic for Avengers and put a new kind of all-star Avengers team together to kind of to compete with what DC has always done with Justice League, and it was huge. So if anybody's looking for some great Finch stuff to jump on, and for some reason you weren't reading Avengers around that time period, pick up Avengers Disassembled.
He's worked amazing with some phenomenal writers too, and I mean, like you said, Brian Michael Bendis. So Avengers Disassembled. He really did great work on Ultimate X-Men too, which I actually think Ultimate X-Men is underrated. I think there were a lot of good elements to that. And then, like I said, the Moon Knight, that series, that volume, I think it was volume 5, maybe, that started in 2006, right? That's the one with that Charlie Houston starts to write, and then Benson picks up later. But the first 8 or 9 issues was David Finch, and like you said, the rest of the artists that Miko Soyan, jumps in there and some others, but you can tell that they were like, okay, we want to try and keep this consistent. It's our, book now, but we want to keep it consistent with what he did in those first issues. And his impression, you feel it throughout the rest of that volume. And that Omni, that, or if you pick up the individual issues or trade paperbacks or something, that is a great jumping on point for Moon Knight too. If you want to get more, Moon Knight and understand more about the character, because it is an emotional, brutal, really, really well done volume.
Definitely, man. But anyway, this is my guy Louis Labitz. This is Louis Vinny. This is his piece. He said he waited like 2.5 years for this, and definitely got it. So that's definitely an amazing piece.
No doubt.
Just like again, his detail, how menacing the Joker looks on the cover, is definitely incredible. So yeah, man, shout out all day, every day. Kills it with this piece. And luckily 9.8. He's doing his thing, man. Love it.
Yes, sir.
That's a good number, man. It's a good book.
Definitely a good number to actually have, man. So shout out to you on that. And shout out to Finch, man, for just being incredible in who he is, and just a legend of his time, and just for always, being just like a stand-up dude in general. So shout out to you, bro. We just wanted to talk about that. Now, before we go on the next topic, Vinny, I want to pull these up really quick because I know you wanted to show that. Now, over the weekend, y'all, Vinny had his stint at the he does every year, Vinny does a con, of course. So he got a couple pictures from the con that you want to actually show off, in basically your display. I love the display, by the way.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So we're going to actually bring this up really, really, really quick. Which we got to discuss the name, bro. Because I knew you said Vincent Dunn art, but we need to have Room Raider up there somewhere, bro. Like,
there's room underneath for Yeah, I got a few cons lined up for this season. I'll have one in June and another one in August, and I'll probably try to add a couple more in there. But this was in State College, PA, right outside where the Penn State Lions play. So this was like just a couple miles outside. Big arena. It was decent. Showing it was their first con, so it was a pleasure to be there. Met a lot of awesome fans. There was some amazing cosplays and all kinds of different things going on. They had, leather workers. They had people selling swords. They had, of course, comics and artists and, Pokemon and Magic Gathering, like you name it, they had it. It was pretty cool. So I got a new setup, did a bunch of live art while I was there. So I was just doing live pieces and commissions in between, talking to clients and customers and talking with people and just chopping it up about comic book movies and comic books and art and all that good stuff. It was so awesome talking to kids and fans and just like, just soaking it all in, all the geekness, man. So I did a Dark Phoenix while I was there. I did a new comic book sketch variant cover. I did Black Bolt on one of those covers. And I'll show you one. I'll mention the next one. I'm not sure what order I put it in. Listen, jump to the next picture.
I was looking at Rockamon Chris. He was like, yo, that Guyver though.
Yes, sir. That one. Yeah. I had a lot of fun doing it. I did that live at a con a couple of years ago and just did it there while I was at the table in between talking to people. That was a lot of fun. That's all in watercolor.
And he still got my miles under lock and key, bro.
Oh shit, my bad, bro.
This dude ain't never gonna send my miles, man. Like, damn, dog.
I got you.
It's been a year.
You know what? I only got mine because Toya took charge of it when they were.
That's the thing,
bro.
I'm about to
you got Toya.
Like, listen. Yo, listen, Jay.
This boy, man.
Bro, this is what you do right now, bro. When you get a chance, inbox Toya and tell her to get the invoice and everything ready, and I'll have it.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have the inbox
do that right away, right now, and I'll actually pull it out and take it up there to her and have her do it ASAP. So just do it, bro, because my life is just hectic, bro. But it is what it is.
I bought a frame for that bitch and everything.
we're past the big hard sex criminals. Don't be talking about pulling it out and stuff like
so that was Illuminati. This was Inhumans Volume 1. Number 1, Volume 2, and this was blank covering that. Just did a.
Did you paint that, bro? That's dope.
Yeah, man, that's all just Copics and marker. So that's all marker.
Yeah, that came out raw, man.
Thank you, man.
That's dope.
Yeah. And then this young lady, she was so awesome. She came up and she asked me for Wild Link and Wasp, and I was like, oh, that's an odd couple. Okay. I wasn't even sure who Wild Link was. I could have swore he was from Zelda, and I looked it up, and she was like, yeah, from the Zelda games. I was like, okay. So I threw them together, and it was getting kind of busy, and I was like, I'll have it done in like 2 hours or less. And like after about 45 minutes, an hour, I just kept seeing her peek around the corner, like, Is it ready? Is it ready? And I was like, I'm trying. I had to deal with people who were coming to buy prints at the same time and darn in between. Mm-hmm. But she was happy with it. Her parents came over and she bought it with her own money and everything. And they were like, nah, she wants it. That's what she wanted to spend it on. She wanted a commission of this because she knew she wouldn't see it, as a regular print anywhere. And I was like, got it. So I drew that up for her and she loved it. That was awesome. And then
that's pretty cool.
And then this next one here was like one of my favorite con moments that I've had in all the years doing this stuff.
Hold on. I hate to be this dude. I don't want to be this dude. Mm-hmm. What does she have in her hand? Okay, that's a blow up. That's a blow up. Okay.
There was.
Oh my God!
Look. Let me explain. That is, there was a person there with making balloon animals, right? Okay. Listen.
It's a balloon something.
Yes, it was a balloon sword. So they had lightsaber class where they had the 501st was there, and they were
only Lyle, bro. Like only
the 501st was there.
Like that. Yeah.
The 501st was there.
It wasn't me.
Let me explain.
That's what I'm saying.
Was there.
Go ahead, Benny.
Teaching kids how to do like lightsaber fighting, and they gave them fucking balloon animals to fight with, and they made balloon swords. Now my girl came and brought her daughters, and she was in the picture with one of those. And when she came up to my table, I was like, "What does she have?" And she had it in the picture, and I cropped that shit out because I wasn't trying to take 400 responses to it. Going, "Yo, what does she have at this con? Like, what kind of con is this?" Nope. Yo.
Anyway,
I couldn't. Yeah. There's no way to edit it out of this picture without it being really obvious and like zoomed in close up. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Anyways, moving on. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I was hoping nobody would notice. Goddamn it.
Oh my God, dude.
Brendan was waiting for you to say this shit because he was laughing his ass off.
Yep.
I'm done, bro. I'm done.
All right. This is one of my favorite con moments ever, man. On Saturday, this young man came, and he came in and he bought a Boba Fett print. And he's looking through my book real slow, like dissecting every single page. And I got like 80 different prints in that book. And him and his dad are just sitting there talking to me for like 10 minutes about comics and movies. And the kid draws. And he's talking to me about art, how much he loves drawing and who he likes drawing. And the whole time, he's just like picking my brain and asking me different questions about Medium and all this shit, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets a Boba Fett print from me after all that time. The next day, they come back, and this young man walks up to the table, and he hands me a picture of a picture he drew of Chainsaw Man. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. His dad said after we got done from the con, they got to the hotel room, and he sat at the table and just drew and drew and drew all night. And he did this Chainsaw Man, and he said, can I give it to, Vincent Dunn when we go tomorrow? And his dad was like, hell yeah. And they came back to my table, and he gave it to me. So I was like, how much you want for it? And I gave him my print price for it. And I said, you bought Boba Fett from me yesterday, so let's call it a trade, artist to artist. Just made my day, man.
That's awesome.
Bro.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome. That is dope.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Vinny,
that's inspiration.
We know what your next piece has to be now. Okay?
I seen that while I was talking.
Rock'n'Roll Chris.
Modoc.
Lael Modoc.
with the beard and the glasses.
His tiny little feet kicking out.
Thank you, Rockamon Chris. Thank you so much, Rockamon Chris. Thank you very much, Rockamon Chris, for planting that seed. Thank you so much, bro.
We'll see what we can do.
It's on now. Oh my God.
Damn.
Y'all give me a headache.
Here we go. Here we go.
You need to get that. I'm telling you, that shit will sell at cons, man.
It's gonna sell. It's gonna sell.
You'll be like, dope. Why did you do Old Man Mace Windu as Modoc? But like, it'll sell. It's a good mashup.
Yeah. Mechanized organism designed only for feet.
His beard would be the chest
right.
Well, thank you, Rockamon Chris. I just want to thank you once again for now making my life a living hell.
Mechanized organism designed only for Jyn Erso.
We gotta do
You got jokes. Okay. I'm glad.
Oh man. Listen. We opened up with Sandman, so we gotta go somewhere else.
Mode off.
Only designed only for feet.
Only for feet.
Y'all some bitches.
With some Jordans on. The Jordan ones.
Got it.
Look, I'm just telling everybody watching this right now, fuck every other stream that you might watch this week, because none of them is going to make you laugh as hard as this shit did tonight. I'm telling
Not
you,
like
look
this.
at now.
Not like
you
this.
Can just call it a day.
Anyway.
Y'all boys.
We're going to jump into this next topic. So what we got here, and this is like a really dope segue, because again, like, we've been wondering, and the talk of right now is, where is the MCU going? Okay, now we'll put that aside for a second. We think about, we think about phase one. We talked about this already. Phase one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and where a lot of the inspiration came from. Well, of course, it came from the Ultimates, the Ultimate Cap. We got the Ultimate Nick Fury. We got the Ultimate, even Black Widow that we actually saw, different iterations that we actually got. And also in certain iterations, we got the Ultimate Thor as well. You know what I mean? So everything was kind of derived ultimately from this, from this particular run. So we got a lot of those characters. Well, again, we know that the Ultimate Universe, down the line was actually destroyed. They, brought a lot of those characters into the main universe, because they wanted to kind of just separate from it. But now we got news that Marvel is deciding to revive the Ultimate Universe. Now, isn't that coincidental, considering that we know that eventually we are going to get the the Kang Dynasty, and as well as Secret Wars. So we know that these things are coming. So what better way to start getting people used to that idea than to bring back the Ultimate Universe? And on top of that, we were talking about, Brennan, how there could be a slight redemption for certain characters in different iterations. Like, one of my biggest things, and I talked to you about it, was the possibility that we might and could get the right Hulk in this cinematic universe.
I hope so, though.
And I hope that we would actually do something like that. So, Brendan, like, when we were talking about it, you brought it to my attention, and I was like, oh, it does basically make sense. What was your take on it, bro?
Yeah, as soon as when they dropped this news, I immediately I texted you and I was like, oh shit, because there was a lot that I really enjoyed about the Ultimate Universe. Brian Michael Bendis's run on Ultimate Spider-Man, with Peter going through, spoilers, it's fucking 20 years old now, but Peter's death in the Ultimate Universe, and then Miles taking on that mantle. The Ultimates, and the fact that that's the version of Nick Fury that we got in the MCU. The idea of the Ultimate Universe back then was kind of, they're not going to get rid of the original, the 616. That's still going to be always there, but we're going to give a new kind of jumping on point for people to kind of understand the origins and the motivations of these various characters in this new imprint, in a way to get people to, get more readers to get into comics, right? And they're doing it at a time too where, comics were struggling. Marvel had very narrowly avoided completely going under in the 90s. Only survived really because of selling off movie rights to Sony and to Fox, and which now they've got most of, but still not all back. But I saw this, and like you said, Lael, I think that the ferocious versions of Hulk that we saw in the Ed Norton movie, in the first Avengers movie, and then even Age of Ultron, I'm down with. Like, that was fine. It was once we got to, Infinity War and Endgame, where that really started to change.
Yeah.
A little bit in Thor Ragnarok, but even then he was still vicious and stuff. It was just they also had comedy because it was Taika. But yeah, this gives us the opportunity to reintroduce or introduce new versions of characters that, people have not been happy with as of late. Like the Hulk is a perfect example. Even, while I think Chris Hemsworth is great, the way we've gotten that kind of goofy, slapstick Thor of late, not something that I've really enjoyed, on that front. This gives us an opportunity to have new versions of these characters. Like, I would be totally fine if they had an Ultimates like cinematic universe kind of, at some point. Obviously you got to balance that with, audiences, so people who aren't deep into comics know, what's what. But what really stood out to me for this was that Marvel approached Jonathan Hickman with this idea. It wasn't Hickman saying, "Oh, I want to do this. Let me," and going to Marvel and pitching it to them. Marvel wanted, this was a priority for Marvel, and they went to Jonathan Hickman, and Hickman went back and forth with them and really liked an idea that was landed on, and so he and Hitch are now doing this. But I've spoken at length about how I think that there's synergy between, what we see get pushed in the books and what's coming into the cinematic universe, or vice versa. The timing of certain focal points, it's like they're focusing on this in the books, and then that character or that arc kind of gets adapted or gets a push in Disney Plus or movie, or, or the other way around. And this is a perfect way of bringing in characters like, and this new revival that it's called Ultimate Invasion, I think, centers on two specific characters: the Maker, which is the Ultimate Universe's, Reed Richards gone bad, all right, and Miles Morales. Okay. We know that we're getting the Fantastic Four, and we've already been introduced to one version of Reed Richards in the multiverse. Miles has been somebody that people have been clamoring for a long time. And they're the focal points in that. And they're also people that have a very good chance of popping up in the movies at some point. And this all stems out of the Ultimate Universe was basically annihilated in the 2015 Secret Wars, which is, and I've been saying since day one, I think that what we're going to get for the Secret Wars movie is not going to be a one-to-one adaptation of either story, but that I think it'll lean more heavily into the second Secret Wars rather than the first one. And I think this is a good indication that that's a possibility, because if they're reviving the Ultimate Universe in the comics, which was basically the spine of the existing MCU that we have now, there's a good chance that they're going to use that kind of framework to introduce some new characters that we're waiting on, and some new versions of characters that we would like to see improved. This is a perfect way for them to do that. Hickman is on board, and I think that what we're going to get in the comics could be really, really cool. But I do think that that's going to translate into what we're going to get in the MCU. I don't think like I said, we're not going to get a one-to-one adaptation, because both Secret Wars stories are very convoluted. There's a lot to unpack, and I don't think they'd have enough time and enough properties to actually.
There's definitely
really
not enough time to tell
a
story. Yeah,
before that Secret Wars movie, exactly. So it's going to be a more slimmed down version of the story. But I think, given the fact that they've already been introducing the concept of the multiverse, and this is the multiverse saga, right? I think that there's a really strong chance that the Ultimate Universe in the comics, and that coming back, coinciding with the multiversal saga and a Secret Wars movie in the MCU, means that we could be getting a lot of that translated into the MCU from that second Secret Wars, and from the Ultimate Universe as it already did exist before it was destroyed, and what they're bringing back. So I'm really excited. Now, there's a lot of moving parts for them to figure out, but this is also a really good way potentially to introduce some X characters too, and kind of, we can be like, okay, so we have some existing mutants in the MCU, like Kamala Khan and stuff like that, but where has Professor X and Wolverine and Bobby Drake and all these other guys, where have they all been this whole time? maybe this is kind of an element of how we get those. It's like, okay, well, mutants exist, but now here are a bunch more because they also exist in this other universe. And we're having, remember all the kind of incursions and stuff like that were talked about in Multiverse of Madness, with worlds colliding and stuff like that. So there's a lot that can be done. This could also be a really interesting way to bring in Doom. Especially for his role in both, but specifically Secret Wars, the second one, 2015. There's a lot of really good storytelling potential, and the fact that this is coming back in the comics, it got me really excited.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing is like, it's timing. Timing is always the essence. If Marvel is going to, they're if they're going to this length, to bring back something like, especially the Ultimate unit, but it's perfect. It's the perfect way to really address, because remember, like during the Ultimates run was when, around that time when the idea of Kamala Khan was introduced, but also the idea of her, which again, the original story arc for her was to be a mutant before they basically gave her, or they tied her in with the Inhumans and, made it her powers more based off of the Terrigen Mist. But originally the concept had been derived from just around this era, this time period when they wanted to kind of bring that character to service. So again, it's a good way to rewrite a lot of, not rewrite, but just kind of like emphasize that, okay, there is a possibility of these other characters, out there that we can bring in, to such a larger scope, and to kind of correct certain things. Vinny, what you think about, just this possibility and what we can get?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about it because, for starters, I was going through like a burnout phase in the late 90s, and one of the things that brought me back was Bendis and all the shit he was working on, including Ultimate Spider-Man, and then that spread out into Ultimates and Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ultimate X-Men. The Ultimate line did a lot of incredible stuff. It was like a huge breath of fresh air to comics, because they got a lot of freedom to just play with these characters in ways that they never really got to before, and it was like, one of the most successful reboots of all time, because it was with a safety net. It was an entirely different thing, so they could do whatever with these characters without worrying about 616. So it was really liberating for all the writers and creators and artists who were working on those books, and it gave us a lot of stuff that stayed and stuck with those characters and became as much a part of them as anything. Like we talked about earlier, like Nick Fury is Sam Jackson now because of Ultimates. The Chris Hemsworth Thor, like Brendan was mentioning, like that's like more of a take on what Miller did with Thor than anything. And we got to see like a more of a hardcore military Cap. And we got to see more of a funny, just streamlined Spider-Man who had so much convoluted history in Marvel that if you were a kid saying, who do I read for Spider-Man for years, I would say just pick up Ultimate Spider-Man's Power and Responsibility 1. And that was one of the most perfect jumping on books for a young reader that you could ever recommend. For years, I mean, to this day, like that's perfect jumping on point. It's so accessible. It's so easy to read. It's so
gets you to understand the character without dealing with decades of baggage. And yet
at the same time, it still felt like he evolved in that lane too. Like he was growing in that lane. So it wasn't like a kids comic where the kids never get older. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a cartoon like Simpsons where Bart is Bart, 10 forever. It was a great jumping on point. But there was a lot of stuff that they didn't do really too great either. I felt like 616 X-Men was always way better than Ultimate X-Men. I feel like Fantastic Four was like had great art, but some of the stories got weird. When Maker came in, that was awesome too, but it wasn't the same dynamic because it's kind of like they gave all the coolness of Doom to Reed. So they never really did with Doom what they could have. So, but it was okay because 616 Doom is amazing. So, they were able to do a whole bunch of different things. And then, of course, it ran its course over, 15 years or so, and they were done with it. And Hickman's Secret Wars kind of, what you think of incursions from the, Marvel films, we'll see, like, they had, basically wanted to go back to a single universe to try to make it less sloppy because they wanted to just keep the characters they like and just cherry pick them and bring them in.
Yeah.
What I have to keep in mind is, not everyone's our age or been reading as long as we have. To some new readers, they might not understand just how big a deal, the multiverse in Marvel Comics was, and how because when you were sitting there reading, Spider-Man one day, then you picking up Ultimate Spider-Man, like it's really clear and very very easy to understand as you're literally reading a Spider-Man from a different universe, how that could, translate to, thousands and millions of other Spider-Man out there. And it's really easy to grasp concept. But with it being gone and them now introducing all this multiverse stuff, if a movie comes out for, Scarlet Witch movie or Doctor Strange movie, a lot of times what Marvel will do is, restart the book over at number 1. Here's a new Doctor Strange comic. So that way, if Doctor Strange is coming out next year and you want to start reading him so that you feel like the character, they restarted at number 1 for those people so that they could jump on. But the Ultimate Universe is dead. So how the fuck can they do that if they got, multiverse stories coming along and people want to kind of get an idea of what that's like? So in that respect, this makes sense. But it gives them a chance to do that. Storyline wise, I'm not sure how that works. Of course, we'll find out when we read it what the how they'll do that, because they went really out of their way to kind of trim that fat and bring it all into one and only have the one universe. But they did it once. They could do it again. It's just basically just rebooting like everything else that they do. I'm excited. Comics, exactly. Yeah. When in doubt, just it's you can write your way around anything. I love that Hickman and Hitcher on it, but soon they won't be. And then what happens when they're done with it? Are they going to keep creators on it? Which is why the Ultimate line was so successful, because Bendis and Bagley broke records for how long they stayed on Spider-Man. Miller stayed on, for a long time. Like they kept they kept Miller and Bendis, and they stayed at it and made sure that those books weren't just 1 year hot and then just move on and just throw anybody on it. And that's a big problem that Marvel has, and DC has too. They'll throw on hot creators and then they'll bail on it, knowing that people are going to keep reading it because they don't want to miss out. But now you're reading like subpar writers or artists, and I don't want to see that. But I love
writers and stuff are freelance too now, where it's like they'll so they're not contracted for really long stretches. Like I agree with you. I would love it if they brought somebody in like a Brian Michael Bendis or or Hickman and said, okay, look, we want you to run this for 100 issues.
Yes.
We want you to we want a 5-year run, or we want this and have like a team of people. And it's like however many books you're going to have in this Ultimate Universe. Let's say you're going to have an Ultimates, you're going to have an Ultimate Spider-Man, whatever. Like these 4 or 5 books. Okay. You get creative teams and maybe they can trade off with one another. But it's this core, 5 or 10 creators. And it's like, look, we want 100 issues of each of these books from you guys, and you're contracted for that. And
it's weird that they don't do that anymore. Like, even in movies where actors are getting paid, crazy film deals, signing on for 9-picture deals and stuff like that. Yeah. It's like, you don't see that with comics. It's like no one ever gets held to any more than 6-12 issues, and then they just they bounce and bounce and bounce everywhere.
It's because
it's
they
really
want to be able to. They want to be able to bring in the new hot writer or hot artist, because the best way for a lot of creators these days to get recognized, and Chip Zdarsky even said it, is go write a book, go make one. And he said the best advice he can give a writer is learn how to draw, because it's hard to necessarily find an artist who can work with you. But if you can write and draw your own book, get it self-published, or go to one of the smaller places, or that'll take a chance on you, like a Boom Studios, right, or Scout Comics or something. You get noticed, and that's how you get a gig with Marvel then. But what happens is so many of these people are doing that, where they're they're not getting these okay, we're 9 picture deals, like you said, not like, okay, 100 issues or a 5-year contract or whatever, because all this talent is going through those smaller ones doing like,
I think that's short-sighted.
That they want to be able to, I agree, but they want to be able to grab that next hot person, right? Like if DC or Marvel, and he's not doing it because he knows better, but like James Tynion is a perfect example right now. Crushed it on Batman. Something is Killing the Children is fucking huge right now. Optioned by Netflix, right? All this stuff. If they could, like Marvel or DC would probably gladly lock him down to an exclusive contract right now, but he's not going to do it. Because he can do stuff for Marvel, he can do stuff for DC, he can do stuff for Boom Studios, like Something is Killing the Children, and he can do creator-owned stuff now that he's big. So now he can make some big money on creator-owned stuff. He doesn't have to be locked down to one of the 2 majors, right? And I think that's what we see a lot of today.
I mean, I think there's a lot of cool potential of it. It's definitely a very important time to get young readers introduced to the idea of just how vast and how different multiverses can be, despite the fact that I'm sure most of them get it through Spider-Verse and Multiverse of Madness. Like, they get the concept, but this is like letting them focus on, a whole world. It's odd that the focus will be on, 2 characters that is very unlikely we'll see for many years, because God knows what Sony wants to do with Miles, and they got the animated thing going on. Who knows when we'll actually see live action? And it wouldn't make any sense really to see the Maker before, when we haven't even seen their read yet. So by the time we would see the Maker, you would I mean, again, Maker is interesting because you've seen 60 years of Reed being Reed. So here's something different. It's not something that it's not something that you make sense. Not something that you want to see. Just something that they do instantly. Just like God Emperor Doom. As much as I would love to see God Emperor Doom, I don't want to see that in Secret War, because then how do you revert? How do you revert back to him being just regular badass Doom? People are going to be like, "Well, he's they nerfed him." It's like, no, this is a rare thing where he was
the expectations to see that version constantly, and that's
that'd be like introducing people to Spider-Man. That'd be like introducing people to Spider-Man for the first time, showing them Cosmic Spider-Man
for the first time.
You can't show them Cosmic Spider-Man and then just let them be just regular 15-year-old Pete.
I wouldn't be surprised if Maker wasn't introduced early on in the MCU as like a Fantastic Four villain, since they're coming in the multiverse saga, right? Think about it, like they've already seen 2 different iterations across 3 movies from Fox, where they have not done Dr. Doom well, right?
Horribly. Actually.
So does Kevin Feige want to start with Dr. Doom, or does he want to tease Dr. Doom, build him up? But maybe, because also remember, Marvel, like one of the knocks on them is that like whenever they have like a new hero or a new team introduced, they typically go up against a villain that has like the same power set. Like Iron Man, Ironmonger, Wasp, or Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked, given the fact that they've done that and that it's the multiversal, saga, that maybe they have, the villain of a Fantastic Four movie be Reed Richards, or, something to that effect that ties in with the, Secret Wars, Battle World, that ties in with, that multiversal element of this saga. And then you're building up to maybe a different version of like God Emperor Doom at some point down the road. But I'm not necessarily saying that's the way I would go, or that's the way they should go, but I can see them doing
the evil version of a hero, because as we all know as comic book readers, the evil version is always so much better because they have no morals, no limits. And then when you have like, your evil version of a superhero doing all the shit that the Maker does, and then you introduce Fantastic Four, and like Reed ain't gonna be doing all that shit. You're gonna be like, oh, he's not as cool as the Maker. You always write yourself in a corner with that type of shit.
You gotta do it well, but you think about it though, the villains that people are clamoring for when we get Fantastic Four, that they want to see done right because they haven't been.
Yeah,
right?
Everybody wants.
We've got Dr. Doom and Galactus.
The important part for me is to not put Doom in that first movie and to introduce him in either the second or his own film. You can't put Doom in that first movie because Doom is too big of a deal to try to tell his story while you're trying to introduce the family. Like, and it's been way too long since they did a Fantastic Four movie to try to just shoehorn him in. And you don't. Doom is like somebody, when you introduce him, you want them to, not necessarily have that Infinity War ending, but you don't want Doom to come in and then like the heroes come up, and you don't want the Ant-Man ending for Fantastic Four. You want Doom to look like a threat.
Nah, hell no.
Build like they did with Thanos over time, where they but that's that. When you think about it, though, you don't want them to rush and truncate the story of and do a bad job of writing Doom or Galactus.
To me, the smartest thing to do would be do a film for Doom. Give Doom his own fucking film.
So every time, the Maker is a good villain then, because you don't want to rush those others. So give them the Maker, and then in the wings build up somebody like Doom or Galactus, so that they can then come in. Especially if you're going to have the Celestials, it's again at some point with the Eternals. You want to build those larger than life galactic style villains. You don't want to rush that. So the Maker could be a sensible villain for them while you're building. It's possible.
They have such an enviable position right now because there's so many people they could pick. Clearly, they're not going to do any of the super big guns like Galactus, they'll save shit like that, and people like Moman and shit like that is too small. So they have to figure out: are they going to do somebody like Annihilation? Are they going to do Kang? Are they going to tie in the the Heredity thing where they've always teased for years about Reed being an ancestor of Kang? We'll see.
Yeah. But the thing it's like when people like. When people like Dr. Doom, man, like every time they just throw him into a movie, the movie has failed. Like they have to, like you said, stretch it out, like it did Thanos, man. That's the only way that somebody like Dr. Doom will actually work.
Yeah,
I think in the right way.
And that's the problem. Like the thing is, MCU has gone this route where they feel as though that they have to humanize every villain. It doesn't have to be that way. Like not every villain has to be humanized because you want them to be relatable and you want the crowd or the audience to adjust it. No. Sometimes I need Doom to
talk shit.
Yeah, just talk shit. Yeah. And just basically and that's and I think that was one of the biggest problems. Like even though I love the movie, don't get me wrong, even though I love Panther, it's what they did to Namor. Namor don't give two shits. He is not the type of literally he don't give a damn. Like
they didn't want to lean in too much to him being a dick because they wanted him to still be likable.
Yeah,
Tina Huerta did a good job, but I would have loved them to just cut him loose and let him be.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like mean as fuck. Like this don't care. Like this does not care. Like, and that's the thing.
Namor, it's his first time meeting them too. Man, he would have trashed Wakanda. He would have tore them up.
He was way too.
And then they made him hold back.
Like, I'm not trying to fuck you. I'm trying to fuck you up. That's Namor.
Yeah, literally, like
that energy.
You know what I mean? Like, bury your dead. You know what I mean? Or whatever honor. There was no honor in that thing for him. He would have been like, okay, it is what it is. I warned you, and just whatever. But here's the thing: like when we talk about because Vinny, you touched on this earlier, and I wanted to say earlier, is that you're right. The problem is, and my fear is, okay, they start writing this book, and we start getting on this run. Where everything is just kind of flowing, and it's just everything is aesthetically great, and it's fluidity and stuff like that. Yeah. But then they get tired of writing the story, and then pass it on to other writers, and then once they pass it on to other writers, then you start basically seeing decline, and then all of a sudden they want to kill it off again. Yep. That's the problem. That's what I'm afraid of, bro. I don't.
And here's the thing, mess up, bro. But the problem with that is with like Hickman and Hitch. Especially with Hitch, he ain't trying to stay on nothing for a long period of time. Is this shit? Are they even going to be on this book by the time Secret War comes out? I doubt it. I doubt it. And then, so if you're not picking this book up until around that time, all right, now it's subpar.
Yeah.
It's gone are the days where I remember obviously, I relate a lot of stuff back to Daredevil, but like when you think about it,
you're like Robert Ma Burnett to Star Trek.
I know, seriously, but when you
Daredevil encyclopedia, bro.
Look at and there are other actually Captain America is a good one with Ed Brubaker too. Look at Ed Brubaker's run on Cap. That was a long fucking run. Yeah. Right? Same thing with Daredevil. It's like you had Brian Michael Bendis on Daredevil for a hot minute in volume 2. And then Brubaker took over in that. but they talked about like what they wanted to do, and it's kind of like a funny kind of like trope in comics that like when one writer is leaving a book, like back in the day anyway, not so much now, but like when one writer is leaving a book, they'll try and leave their volume off with a really hard challenge for the next writer to solve, to like, oh fuck, how am I gonna, like, that was a good ending for him, but now I got to pick up the ball and run with it. What the fuck am I gonna do? And that was what happened in Daredevil Volume 2, where it ended, Bendis, had his run end with Matt Murdock in jail, and he was going to try and figure a way to get him out of jail before he left the book. And Brubaker was like, no, fuck me over. Leave him in prison. Let me figure out how I'm going to get him out. Right. And I liked that, he's like, I got to fucking man up and figure this out now.
Yeah.
And you don't have that handoff, and you don't have that kind of synergy between creative teams from one to the next. It's like, okay, it's almost just like a hard stop. All right.
Yeah.
Now this person comes in blind and you do your thing. And I feel like that almost feels like what happens with some of the MCU properties too, where I feel like there isn't even though there's like an overall kind of like idea of where this is going, I don't think the actual screenwriters have enough communication with one another. And the directors necessarily have enough communication with one another. Like, I don't know how much Peyton Reed is talking to I can't remember the name of the guy who directed Shang-Chi, who's directing the next.
I forget his name, but he's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how much communication are they having? Because to me, this is the perfect example. Is I was actually watching earlier this week. I was rewatching Infinity War, and I was like, God damn, this is such a good movie.
It's tight.
It is.
There's no fat.
That's what I was like. This is such a good movie. And it's like there have been elements of the MCU of late, like Shang-Chi, for example, WandaVision, things like that, that I've absolutely loved. But as far as like a cohesive storytelling, I was like, oh my God, this is how it was done. Like, we got spoiled early on in the MCU, and now we're struggling with that. And I was watching it specifically because I was looking at Thanos, and I was like, you know what? Jonathan Majors may be the best actor of this generation right now.
Dude,
he may be the best actor in Hollywood right now of that generation. But and he showed how good an actor he is in Ant-Man. I'm really looking forward to it. Thursday night, I'm going to see
especially at the end.
Right? Creed, yeah.
I'm going to see it Thursday night. I'm tickets.
Me too.
I love him in the role, but I don't think the role was written well, and I don't think it's
well enough for him.
Developed well.
Yeah.
Because when you think about how Thanos was developed, all right, and like you said, they didn't necessarily, it wasn't humanizing Thanos, and like when he was making his argument about like not enough resources for the population and indiscriminate, we're not gonna like be favorites over here and stuff. It's just like half of the universe has got to go
everything,
so that the other half can still thrive, right? And a lot of people in the post snap were like Thanos was right, kind of thing like that, but there was a point we still needed a villain, right? And so you go from Infinity War being his movie and being like, oh man, this isn't just I want to be world domination kind of trope and stuff. There was depth to his character and his motivation, but then in Endgame he flipped the switch and he's like, man, it was just kind of neutral, indiscriminate before. He's like,
not anymore.
But now I'm gonna fuck your world up, and I'm gonna enjoy every fucking second of it, and I'm gonna step on you motherfuckers.
And that was a good transition. It was such an amazing transition.
The villain that you're like, oh, now we gotta fuck him up.
Yeah,
it wasn't Thanos was right. Now it's like,
bro. And you know what the beauty of that was, though.
He wants to kill you.
We talked about this before, but the beauty of it, and I like literally, when a film is done right. Infinity War was the pinnacle. Like it was the top of the mountain, leading into such of what we actually get. And I watch it all the time, bro.
It's beautiful.
And going into the end game, bro. When you get the end game from Infinity War, even at the end of Endgame, bro, I felt like literally. This is stupid to say, but I felt sore as shit because that's how they felt. And you were going through it with these characters. You were actually, you felt them licking the wounds, and it was so cohesive. And that's why I was like, yo, the Russo brothers
in a way that you haven't
been invested. But see,
bro.
With that whole saga, bro, they took time to show the evolution of Thanos, bro. From when he first went to get the gauntlet at the end of Avengers, you got time to see him evolve. And now he's like, just, I want to fuck everything up at the end.
And you can't really evolve Kang if we're seeing we don't know. It's like, well, is this the version that is supposed to be like the menace, the threat?
Yeah,
or
that's what I thought he was.
So there's no evolution.
To kill them all, bro. I'm like, dude.
And that's what I'm saying with Kang, bro. Like, and this was right. There was no really setup, no cohesive build up to this character. And then to do what you did, okay, yes, we know that there are variances, but this wasn't a good way to introduce the variances the way they've done it in this film. Because again, we know how menacing Kang would have mopped the fuck out of Ant-Man.
He would have killed him, bro. He would have killed him, bro.
That's what I'm saying. He would have mopped him. And that's what I'm saying. There was but there was no build up to that. There was no feeling like there was intensity.
You know what?
And the media basically built this character up for us to believe that is the most menacing thing since Thanos.
The tough part is that I think that
Thanos really still has that win right now. He still has that win over him because of how it was depicted on film. Like, he really shown how he was a threat. And like you said, there was a build up over films to get to that point. And we're not seeing that right now.
The hard part is they made it where. Go ahead, Jason.
No, my bad. My biggest gripe about the movie was okay, when they got Janet out, she already knew all them down there. We're down there. Why didn't she say anything about Kang? Why didn't she warn him about Kang at all? Like, she thought he was never going to get out.
The idea was that she was like traumatized by it, and she didn't want to admit to them that she helped him in the first place, and almost, you know what I mean? Like, so it was guilt on that level. But the ultimate thing is, though, it is that they haven't developed Kang sufficiently to the point where we have him in this. But they had all of Phase 4. Like, they had the opportunity with post-credit scenes, with it in the main movie scenes, to just like have appearances, something like that. Right. They had opportunities. And that was one of the things that we were all complaining about. We all kept waiting for it. Oh, it's going to come in Thunder. Oh, it's going to be here in Black Panther.
Somewhere.
So connective tissue, and they had the ability, and they didn't have to do a ton, but a little bit here and there with all these properties to really kind of set the stage for Kang.
The tone. They
didn't, and then you get, the He Who Remains at the end of Loki. See, that's not as good as Lael. Now, though. It's just not. It's just not.
What's tough is they kind of replaced it the Kang that we know. Like, yes, there's accounts of Kangs, but moreover, most Marvel fans know about Kang's singularity. Like, one person able to go back and forth between time and fucks it up. Whatever he needs, he can go back and forward and get it and win. And obviously that was inhibited because he wasn't able to leave and come and go as he pleases. But he also wasn't fighting the whole Avengers. He was just fighting the Ant family. So his should have been all right. But the tough part is, are we going to get that Kang who's a Thanos level like power, who's able to do whatever, replaced by you have to fight hundreds of them? That takes something away. One Thanos was able to whoop Hulk's ass without breaking a sweat. Right. It didn't take a stadium full of Thanoses to beat the Avengers. Thanos was able to. It took one. So it's like it kind of.
They showed us thousands of Kangs, but they didn't build any one of them up.
They showed us thousands, and it's like, if you're telling me you need thousands
of ants at them.
Yeah, if you tell me you need thousands of a villain in order to beat the Avengers, that doesn't impose fear, because you could take 1,000, Yellow Jackets or Ironmongers, and then it would be a problem, And it's tough because we're not seeing the whole picture yet. For all we know, I like to think that when he died at the end, his suit absorbed the power source, and now he's out and able to, that maybe he be who's in Loki, or maybe he'll be wind up coming back in Kang Dynasty and even more pissed off, and we'll get to see why this Kang was so fucking terrible that even other Kangs had to be like, we got to get rid of this motherfucker, put him in the quantum zone because he's too much. Like he's too Kang. That's what they were supposed to.
But it's like they had him with training wheels on this whole movie, bro.
It's really odd and weird of us because we wanted to see him build up over these films. But like shit, imagine if they did tease him on all these films and then we finally seen him and then he's beat here by some ants. It's I feel like
there's also a lot of people who don't really understand the character that we're saying, because like I saw some people will be like, all right, but Kang is actually supposed to be a human being. He's not. So Thanos obviously would kill Scott Lang in a fight like that, but it's okay for Scott to get his shots in because Kang is still
without the suit. It's just a human, right? But, I get it.
But like at the same time, Kang. One is at that next level. He's so skilled as a combatant because of everything that he's been through and using his powers.
He would have killed Ant-Man,
even without any of his powers, although he still did have several of his energy-based powers and telekinesis that he just decided to stop using at the end of the movie.
Kang without any suit, Kang with no powers.
He should have flawless victoried Scott Lang. He should have
in a heartbeat.
Especially because it's not like Kang was fighting Steve Rogers and Captain America was able to get some hits in. This was fucking Ant-Man.
Bro, anytime Kang in the comics, can fight the Hulk to a frustration level. Right. Like the Hawk was frustrated because he couldn't touch him. And the reason why is because Kang fought him at a distance. He never let him get his hands on it because he knew the technology. And he also knew that the best way to fight the Hawk is to wear him down. And that's exactly what he did. Kang, it literally, when people talk about, if you want to literally talk about the MCU's or the Marvel Universe's Batman with contingency, that's the evil side. This is Kang. Right. Kang knows, and when he says, "Have I killed you before?" it's because he's killed over and over and over again, and that's how much of a threat.
And I don't want to hear him say, "Have I killed you before?" I want to see the bodies of Avengers. Like, show us, don't tell us, and that's the thing.
I don't want Gore the God Butcher telling me that he killed people and we don't see it.
Right, and how much time do they have to actually show Kang do that? Like, think about it, how little time we really
have
a minute. Before the Kang Dynasty. Seriously. I'm genuinely worried about how little time we have for them to develop Kang before this movie.
Oh, shit. That was funny, bro.
Yeah, they should.
But he was.
It's really tough because it's like obviously, obviously, big picture. We'll look back on this and be like, okay, that was to set up this, and then they did the thing, and then okay, cool, wow, look how dope he was in this. But the point is, we know what he should be, and we're gonna be frustrated. People who don't know what he should be are gonna be like, well, why did y'all hype this dude up?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We have to see. We have to literally see right now they need to course correct because I think, and going back and think about, look, I thoroughly enjoyed the Ant-Man film. Was it the best? No. And it wasn't, it definitely wasn't the best way that you introduced Kang. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. There should have been a workaround with that. As a matter of fact, I would have loved this film more if you didn't show Kang until the very end and you knew he was a threat at that point.
End.
At the very end, and we knew it was a threat because we knew going into the next film that it was going to be something. I would appreciate that more. Let Ant-Man deal with somebody else.
Think of all the villains that we've had that could beat the shit out of that version of Kang that we just got. Not even Thanos. I'm talking Hela.
Yeah,
like Hela from Ragnarok that we got could easily have whooped Kang in this movie. Even Ronan the Accuser. From the first Guardians movie could have taken this version of Kang. It's just like you're taking nothing against Ant-Man, but he is not the A-tier Avenger. Okay?
No, he's not.
So you can't have him go up against like the B team. You can't have and he just gets beaten like by ants.
Yeah.
Like you can't, the fact that he couldn't beat any of
Dude, when I saw him throw them ants on him,
villains,
I was like,
means
how
are we supposed to take him seriously if we've already beaten villains that are stronger than him?
Bro, you said ants with so much frustration just now.
That's how I felt.
You dug down deep. You was like, ants.
Listen, dog. Listen. When I wanted to call
like
one of you guys and yell.
Fucking
ants. He threw ants on him.
It might as well have been goddamn butterflies. He got beat by some swarm of butterflies.
Bro, I was like, who was writing this bullshit? Like ants?
That's what scares me, though. The guy who wrote this movie, who wrote Quantumania, is writing Avengers Kang Dynasty. It's the same.
But is he though?
Oh my god! Let me ask a stupid question.
There's been no change.
So do you think? So all right, let me ask you a question. Because they talked about this on the campus show. Do you think
I saw that
he will continue to be on that platform?
That they'll still? I don't think they're going to pull him.
Oh shit!
No,
I don't think they're going to pull him because here's the thing, and like John and Rob mentioned this. The first Ant-Man movie pulled in, I think, like 70 million in its opening, and this one pulled in like almost
46 million.
It was like this one pulled in like 105 or something like that.
Something like 110, but then it dropped 70% the next week and got beat by Cocaine Bear. It got beat by Cocaine Bear the second week.
It got it had the
which was amazing, by the way.
Drop off
for an MCU movie
from the through the next weekend. Now it still made a ton of money in that second weekend, but that's the point, is that even though it had the drop off, it still made as much as it did in that opening, and I think they're looking at that as that was a success. Yeah, people are critical of it, but it was a success. And I don't think they're going to change. If it was like a director, then I think maybe they would look at, okay, we want somebody at the helm that's different. But the screenwriter, I think they're gonna keep him. And again, this is the thing that really concerns me, because this screenwriter, I think his name is Jeff Loveness. Before
was bad.
His two biggest writing credits were a handful of episodes of Rick and Morty, and then a couple years as a writer on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. He had never written a blockbuster movie like before.
True.
So it just that and the fact that Kang was so mishandled in this movie makes me very nervous.
What's frustrating is something like how they handled Kang. It's not something that I can even put on the screenwriter or director. Obviously, how Kang was handled and how they, what happened at the end, that's clearly going to be a overseen decision. Like, there's no way Feige or whoever else is in charge of this shit is saying, well, yeah, let's have him get beat by ants. And then I'm saying, oh, shit, that's what you did? Like, they had to have known, like, been cool with it because of what they want to do going forward. And so I can't put it all on the screenwriter, because obviously if they weren't cool with that, they would have said, no, he has to, escape, or, obviously they weren't going to kill Ant-Man or nothing, but they had to, drive home just how imposing he was, and they didn't. And there's no way that wasn't a decision, good or bad. That was a decision. Not the screenwriter didn't make on his own, for sure.
But if you bring in a screenwriter who understands the characters, then they can be like, okay, this is the overall vision, what they want to do. But then they can bring things into that screenplay that somebody like this guy can't, because he just doesn't understand the character. I don't know, but
is it like
bringing anything to the table to work with Kevin Feige and the rest?
Yeah, but that sometimes comes as, but even that could sometimes be an executive decision. Like, I guarantee you, when they were, introduced Wanda in Age of Ultron, like, they looked her up and knew that she has fucking more magic than telekinesis, but they probably told the writers, nah, don't let her do any of that shit. We're gonna build to that. So they might have been handcuffed. I don't want to make excuses for the writers. It's just that I didn't have that big a problem with the movie in general. It was a silly Ant-Man movie, and I got what I expected. So it's not like I really hated it on that front.
Did it really
if it wasn't
like
for
two things.
What's that?
No, it didn't.
Did it really feel
like
like
a
an
Wasp
Ant-Man
movie.
movie to you?
It felt like an Ant-Man movie. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was better than the second one to me. The second one was pretty boring.
Well,
I can't watch. I can rewatch the first Ant-Man movie. I can't rewatch that second one. So it was at least
I'm
better
not a
than
big
two.
fan of the second one, but I get the fact that like those two were at least built on that kind of like that heist kind of like style that humor. And I felt like this was trying to be like something in between Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy. It never felt like that. It had the humanity that the Ant-Man movies had before.
Well, yeah, because they spent the whole place time in the farm zone.
Now, let me add something stupid. Like, so with this Kang dying, right? Well, he's supposed to be the strongest version of himself. Yeah, if he did die.
Yeah, we don't know.
But it's like he was the one from the comics, like the strongest one out of all of them.
Well,
I like to think that.
They made him seem like he was the strongest one. You know what I mean? So I
like to think it's possible that that might be the catch. Like, you go back and it's like, I gotcha, because he was put there because all the rest of the Kangs, like, we see in an arena of Kangs who are getting together to like fuck shit up, and so clearly like there's if not a hive mind, at least they all get along. So if there's one Kang that's like,
he was considered reckless.
He could be
the reckless one,
not necessarily the strongest.
Right, for whatever reason. Clearly, there's an anomaly with him, and clearly there's an anomaly with the one who remains. Because the one who remains created TVA so that those other Kangs couldn't exist. Because that's really forgotten about all the time too. Like none of this shit would be happening if Sophie or whatever didn't kill. Didn't kill
the one who remains.
The one who remains in Loki, because he was a stopper to the multiverse in the first place. Which the whole point of that was to prevent the Council of Kangs and Kang in general.
And now we don't know which Kang, or if it's
I agree with that.
Kang, the Kang Council that is running in Loki season 2. We don't.
But the tough part is, to us, the majority of the stories are that there being one Kang who is a badass, who's unstoppable. He can go around and fuck shit up. And then there's of course a story where they focus on the Council of Kangs, and clearly that was a more entertaining idea to Marvel, which is kind of sucks because you got your first black villain and needs to swoop everybody instead of it just being one dude. Like, come on, man.
So Rockamon, Chris, you make a very interesting point, and I agree with this. I think that because you put emphasis, and some of the things that MODOK said was that he built it all for him. But at the same time, he could have actually said that, and we've seen more of MODOK. And that's the one thing that I did not like, is the way they utilize MODOK. MODOK isn't a dumb dude. He isn't a dumb character. He's intelligent, but the way they utilized him in this and then made him, to try to give him a redemption arc, there's no way of doing that. Like,
for what? MODOK is evil, bro.
That they have done in the MCU.
The worst.
Like,
the worst.
I don't care about like any other moments in
I think it was intentionally bad.
Anything like that. It was so bad. When he had the gold faceplate, fine. But when it was just
and he smiled,
I think that was intentionally bad, though. I didn't hold that against it. I hated it. I because he looked cool with the mask on. So I think it was a decision to make it look that stupid.
We didn't mean that, Charlie the Unicorn, but it's just that when we get in it,
but the thing is, when we're talking about the direction of the MCU, Kang is
so
Kang
is kind of intertwined because they set up Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty together in this film.
Together,
and that's the thing. They sure did.
This is where we're supposed to be going. So basically, like if you think about it, right? So if they're bringing the Ultimates in, it's safe to say that they're basically bringing in elements from not only the first Secret Wars with the Beyonder, but then also Secret Wars 2 from the comics. Like they're basically bringing in these versions to kind of, and which is going to be interesting to see how they do it, because I, for one, this is just my opinion, I don't like the idea of Kang being a version of the Beyonder. I don't.
That's been heavily rumored right now.
I don't. If they're basically
that's gonna mess me up.
I don't like it, because I want. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna tell the Beyonder story, tell the Beyonder
right.
Had to be done right.
You already, they already ruined Eternity. Yeah. Don't ruin Beyonder too.
Don't ruin it Beyonder, man. Just because
they have so little time and so few films and TV shows to actually tell this story.
Don't just throw it out
as
there,
much as people were like, "Oh, this is great!" Like when they made the announcement at first, like, "Oh, we don't have to wait that much between these two Avengers movies." I'm like, "Fuck, separate them like so much because there's just so." There's so much, like, especially if they wanted to try and make Kang the Beyonder and fold that in when you're already doing something as convoluted as Secret Wars, like that's so much story to try and unpack. That
we're not going to get most of it. Like, I don't think we're going to get Battle World. I don't think we're going to get.
See, that's the story that they would have to start now. If they're going to do it, they have to start that now.
They should have started in Phase 4.
Exactly.
Starting now is like
guys. If they would have worried about
the pistol went off and you wait.
Battle World would be about 20 years from now, man.
We all know it was more important for that amazing Eternals movie to happen. So let's not get too critical.
Hey, they're doing amazing. They're doing Eternals.
No, seriously, the thing that is more because while it was not a perfect movie and it was not really the real Eternals that we're used to, I didn't hate that movie. It definitely wasn't what I was hoping for, but I didn't hate that movie. What I hate is the fact that a fucking celestial came up out of the ocean and then just stopped and is just still there.
Still there.
And
still not addressed.
Mentioned it.
Not even
still not addressed.
Bro, like, come on, bro. If you see Urshim the Drudge as big as the fucking moon, if you know that if he's seen in Europe, we can see the motherfucker over here.
Nobody said a thing about him.
There's been nothing had about that. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's like, okay, if you have Urshim the Judge and you don't see that and you don't deem it as a threat, but then we get the Fantastic Four and there's a possibility that we can actually see who, it's like, how are they going to treat that? How are you going to treat
it? Wait a second.
That's why I'm afraid of that, man.
Wait. I know exactly what's happening because when that Celestial came out, and this is where universes collide, when that Celestial came out of the ocean, and it basically created like a new island in the ocean right there, that's Gilligan's Island. That's why nobody can find it. It's Gilligan's Island.
That's what?
It might be.
It's Gilligan's Island. That's why nobody can
right back.
3-hour tour. You know what's funny? Like the only, it might be a throwback to Cassie bitching about Ant-Man not doing shit. That motherfucker should have flew over there and dropped some shrink pin particles on the Celestial and shrunk them.
Listen, bro. So maybe I'm nitpicking, bro.
That's how you beat a Celestial. You go out there, you throw pin particles at them. And
pin particles. It should have shrunk it so he'd fuck up the ecosystem.
Did you like this Cassie? I like the Cassie from Endgame better.
This Cassie. This Cassie was
this Cassie got on my nerves.
Brat, it got on my nerves.
I like the actress from Endgame. I know she had a very small role, but I like.
But she was good though. She was more believable.
Where's the 6-year-old from the first movie? Where is she? Why is there 3 different Cassies?
I gotta do this.
Why is this why is it Cassie verse? Why is it Cassie verse?
Because he was right, and it's like
they can recast Cassie, but not T'Challa.
Ooh, easy. Don't start that argument. Let's not go there. Let's not go there because we on the same street. But this person, that's me, baby. Send me that, bro. I'm gonna post that tonight. Send me that.
Ren's telling.
Send me that. Bro. I'm posting
He did that quick.
That is fire.
Yo.
That is fire, bro. I gotta post that.
Yo, you gotta make that. You gotta make that your profile pic on all social media now.
I will.
Yo.
I need that.
Yo,
I will.
Send me that. I'll definitely
put it in my inbox,
bro.
I'm gonna use my profile picture. That boy is fire.
Lens for the win.
Listen.
Riz Talentino, bro.
Yo, just when you thought it was safe to go to the beach.
That's it. I'm there.
It was safe to go to the beach.
Yo. Oh, wow.
That is dope. That's dope. I like that.
Wow.
See, now Rockman Chris is really on it tonight because he's got another good idea. What if they did a complete movie from the villain's perspective? Like, I would be down if they, like Vinny was saying earlier, do a Doom movie, right?
Yeah.
Do a villain movie and just tell it from that perspective. Like,
to me, that's why Infinity War was so good, because it was Thanos' movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you saw so much of him.
But you got to see it from his perspective, though, too.
You saw him interact with the Guardians. You saw him interact with Tony Stark, with Doctor Strange. You saw him interact with the Black Order. You got his perspective. When you saw him torture, when you saw the moments that he had with Gamora, when you saw him torturing Nebula, right? Like you understood where he was coming from, even if you disagreed with it. You understood where he was coming from, the motivations. With Kang, it's like, all they said in this movie was he was, trying to fix timelines. Well, there was no talk about like, what really are you actually trying to fix? What do you think you're accomplishing when you're destroying this world, when you're conquering this timeline, things like that? Like, there was no real. There was nothing about his actual motivation and what makes his character tick. Yeah, it was just. But again, like we said, there was no
right, because there was no foresight on what he wanted to do or what his intentions were. I don't think they were laid out as much as Thanos's were, man. You got to really see what Thanos wanted. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think they cut Kang short, bro. They really cut him short.
Well, it unless there is a plan that we don't foresee, I just don't think it was a well thought out plan to actually introduce him in this film the way they did. Not on this level. If anything, again, I can understand them actually introducing, like, say for instance, if you don't want to give us a Doctor Doom in the first Fantastic Four, you could give us someone like Kang. It would make sense to give us that. A certain version of Kang in that film. But to do it now the way they've done it, and our first, initial our first meeting of Kang, or version was a Kang, was the version that we actually got from Loki. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he remains,
he who remains, but other than that, it's like, okay, there hasn't, even like how many films have actually been released between, from the time that we got the conclusion of Loki into what we, come on, the stupid thing, what we actually got from, in leading into like up until now. There was no sightings, no mention, no nothing. And I don't think that they really did that well. If we're supposed to believe that it's a threat, even that post-credit scene didn't make sense. So I'm just wondering what the idea is going to be going forward. Like, what are we supposed to see?
Now the post credit. What version of him was that? When Loki and the guy saw him at the.
I forget the name of it, but it's from the comics. It's like it's a specific.
That was from the comics too.
Yeah,
I don't remember that one.
I forget which version.
What was it? Victor Timely.
Victor Timely. It was Victor Timely. Back during that day, which again we could.
And it was like, and that post credits were like specifically there to be like, just chill, just wait, because you had the Council of Kings, and then you also had Loki. Like, you don't understand, this motherfucker that's him, like that's the guy. But again, don't tell me, show me.
Think about right.
Exactly.
He said like, did I have I killed you before? Right, trying to imply that he's killed all these Avengers before. But guess what? You know what? Thanos. All right. Started off by bitch slapping the Hulk,
which was
and
I always said that's what you do with Thanos when he shows up.
Vision, he kills Gamora. All right, he damn near kills Stark at the end of Infinity War.
He almost killed Captain America too.
He's dropping bodies. Okay,
and he makes it very clear in Infinity War that he could have killed every one of them.
Right.
Yeah, they could have killed all of them.
He's bitch slapping the Hulk. He's killing Vision. He's killing Gamora. And who did Kang kill? Some random rebels that I don't even remember the names of.
Laser. He killed Laserhead.
Laserhead. Jesus Christ, dude.
He dropped no significant bodies. Like, it was.
I knew Ant-Man was on. I saw Ant-Man would die.
He should have. Right. He should have killed. I think he should have killed Scott Lang. I think he really should have killed him. At the very least, he should have killed Hank.
He should have killed him.
Michael Douglas is 700 years old. Why the fuck would you kill him?
Come on, bro. Come on, dog.
Right,
like,
but
that would have made the most sense to kill Hank. That would have made the most sense.
I think killing Hank would have made sense. I think it would have been a bigger impact if he killed Scott. Because then you set up an arc for Cassie, you know, without her dad trying to live up and become her own superhero down the road, Young Avengers and all that stuff. Yeah. But you also have, look, this is an active member of the Avengers. Not only, he was the Avenger really that was the linchpin in them actually being able to win. Right? In Endgame, right?
Yeah.
Take him out, right? And now you've got hope left with it, or maybe even kills both of them. But like, they had the opportunity to kill somebody and make it have an impact and show how badass Kang is, and they didn't do it.
They missed it.
They just they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So Timely, so Victor Timely, he does he know what happened to already with the other Kang? Because they're all connected, right? So he already knows that the other Kang is dead.
Well, we don't know. We don't know when that like we don't know the context for that scene with Loki and
we have no idea where they are
and what's his name at the end.
Because basically Timely in the books itself, Timely had numerous conversations with Immortus. Because Immortus because around that time Immortus was the one who was planting seeds with individuals with his different variances, trying to empower them to be threats in that realm so Immortus can dominate. He was the individual. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know Timely's motivation, where he's at right now, and if he's already met with Immortus. If he's already had that conversation with Immortus. We don't know. Which was interesting that they actually showed the post-credit scenes the way they did. We saw So we saw Immortus, you know, in that film.
In the arena,
but there was no there was hardly any conversation or anything that he said. He didn't really speak too much. You know what I mean? So which means, like, that's the thing, is like Immortus is extremely important to a lot of development. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, it just
they have to do something. They have to do something to fix these kinks, bro. Because it's like they're making big mistakes like this. I'm like, oh, you're killing you're fighting Kang the Conqueror with a bunch of ants. That fucked me up. I'm like, unbelievable.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm so looking forward to, obviously, you know, Daredevil, but like getting Spidey and stuff. And I'm looking forward to them doing some street level focused stuff where you can tell like a really cool plot that maybe covers a couple different properties, but ultimately it's not like this massive time travel multiversal kind of thing. Like, do some just like some core storytelling for certain characters where you're telling a character driven story, not a universe ending story, that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm hoping for from more, you know, Disney Plus properties. From more, like, I really hope that whatever the next Spider-Man movie is, whether it ties in to Daredevil and other Disney Plus characters or not, that it's like it doesn't have anything to do with multiverse. It doesn't have anything to do with time travel, nothing like that. Give me just a really good Peter Parker story. Right, like that's what I would really love. Like,
what really bothers me though is people
Hammerhead and fucking, you know, Tombstone. Like give me those kinds of things.
Right, street level stuff that'll make sense.
Yeah, just because I feel like they're fumbling the ball right now on the larger multiversal.
Yeah, man. Like,
so just give me something that's more grounded.
Right,
and tell me a story that's like, you know, like Winter Soldier, right? Or even Civil War. Civil War was a big, impactful story, but it wasn't on a cosmic scale. It wasn't on a multiverse or timeline scale. It was just about the characters. That's what
I know what you said about Janet, bro, but I really do blame Janet, dog. Like, I know she went through it down there, but You know, a motherfucker like that is down there waiting to come
Plot
out
device.
and destroy the whole word. Like,
plot
look,
device.
hey,
also, it made no
All
sense
I'm
that it made no sense Cassie was smart enough to have built that thing in the first place.
yeah, like come on,
and that
dude.
was just so
like,
random. All say, hey, I built this thing.
Yeah.
What did you buy like a fucking
Come
like
on.
toy store
Where'd you get the
chemistry
parts
set
from?
when I was gone? Like, where'd you get your fucking
Where'd you get the part?
PhD all of a sudden?
Come on, bro.
That's,
Thank you.
Device.
Thank
That
you.
was ridiculous. But
Yeah.
watch what you say about Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh no. Ain't nothing about the fight. I just don't like the fact that
Damn, she still looks
didn't
good.
say nothing.
Look, there's a reason. There's a reason why she didn't say nothing, and it's because Kang was doing his thing down there, and she was embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. I believe that because
For
he definitely knew who the hell she was.
decades, she was turned out. She didn't say nothing because she was embarrassed.
Yeah,
That's it.
maybe that's why.
Well,
I think the other guy. I think
how
what's his name?
Apparently, she was juggling him and fucking Bill Murray down there.
Bill Murray, yeah.
She was. Well, that's why she don't talk
about opposite ends of the spectrum.
What stays in the quantum realm stays in. What happens in the quantum realm
Well,
stays in the quantum realm.
The whole thing
she was throwing dirt down there, bro.
I didn't get the simple fact that, again, with her character, we know that before we got to this point, she said that the quantum realm changes you, in which it did change her. So where did her power go?
She had the power when she got out.
Yeah,
and I know it just don't go away. You've been there for like 30 years.
Was her power basically linked to the quantum realm, or that the longer she was out, the more it fades away? But if it changes you, I don't know.
But you think like a battery, you're like a battery charging for 30 years, and then you come out and then lose your power all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
The other thing though that confused me, and I don't know if it was because they're like different levels or layers of the quantum realm that you can be in, and time acts differently in the different layers, maybe because it's like in Endgame, Scott said, I was only down there for 5 minutes, but it turned out to be 5 years up here. But they were down there for a hell of a lot longer than 5 minutes in Quantumania, and then they came back and it was the same fucking time. So like I think they maybe hinted it briefly at like there are different like levels to the the further down you go, and that time acts differently.
Oh, the longer you be.
But they didn't explain it to where I was like, okay, it makes sense, because I was like, man, it should be like 100 years later based on how long you guys were. Way 1,000 years later. If 5 minutes was 5 years for Scott in Endgame, they were down there for at least a couple days, I think. Like,
see, but maybe he didn't go as far as they did. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was just stuck in like one of those pocket areas of the quantum realm before he even got to their level.
Right.
That's all I can think of.
It's just something that they didn't clearly
explain
in this movie. Because it's like,
I agree.
To me, that would be the first thing that I'd be like, okay, we said in Endgame that that he was down there for 5 minutes, which was 5 years up here.
5 years.
We got to figure out, because also when they say that, well, why wasn't Janet like dead of old age for like 100 years by the time?
Unless you don't age there, I don't know.
But
I don't know.
But she clearly did. But
that's true.
That's the thing. It's like, look. I understand we have to suspend disbelief when it comes to like time travel in movies and stuff, because every movie universe they make up their own time travel rules, paradoxes, and all that stuff. I get that. Just establish whatever your kind of rules are and then stick to them. And I feel like they didn't do that in this.
True. Yeah, I get that. I'm just disappointed, man. The ending was.
I think the ultimate point of this is if it's that challenging to write this part of that, is how the fuck are they going to pull off Secret War, which is very
Secret
complicated.
You're going to have to boil
it's very
it down
complicated if you're just using one of them.
Kind of
if you're just using 84 Secret War, is complicated. But if you're adding in Hickman Secret War, that was literally epic.
That was everybody. Yeah,
that was what confused me when they announced the film slate, and they said, okay, it's going to be Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then the next one is going to be Avengers Secret Wars. I was like, how is Secret Wars only one movie?
Right.
I was like,
should be
Secret
2.
Wars could be its own fucking phase.
2 or 3. Yeah.
At the very least, it's like it should be like Secret
Yeah.
Wars Part 1 and Part 2.
2 and 3.
That is something that
movies.
is something that also like bugs me. I don't want them to go down the DC road of just cherry picking cool things that happen in major stories and then just saying, oh, like they don't need the whole Dark Knight Returns. Let's just give them the Superman fight. They don't need the whole year one. Let's just give, like, don't just cherry pick these big monumental stories. Like, one of the things that really bothers me is people who are knocking, current comic book films, including Kevin Feige, is complaining about superhero fatigue and quality, and that is not and quantity. Excuse me. The problem is not quantity. The problem is quality. Like Feige should not be knocking how many Marvel projects they're putting out as the scapegoat for why there's been decreased interest and backlash over these films. If you had 7 Marvel movies come out in a year and they were all fire, we wouldn't be bitching.
There would be no complaint.
No one would be complaining. No one's complaining when. No one was complaining about there's too many Marvel movies after Shang-Chi dropped. No one was complaining there's too many Marvel movies after Infinity War. They complain after one bombs. Like, don't, and you can't Star Wars us and say, oh, Last Jedi or, the sequels got bad reviews, so let's not do anymore because we don't want to hear it. What the fuck is that? Like, no, make them
the whole
good.
Fatigue thing, too, it's like John Campea said it. It's like superhero fatigue, it's not a thing because guess what?
We read comics every week.
We've had
forever.
How many decades have we had of legal TV shows or cop shows or cop movies or medical drama?
Oh God!
Right? How many
every
fucking
5
years
minutes
has Law and Order run or ER? Or
Law
it's like saying,
Chicago,
it's like saying
California,
game
Law
show
New York.
fatigue or soap opera fatigue.
If it's quality,
Jeopardy
will
fatigue.
watch it, and people will watch it for decades. If you're telling quality stories with quality characters. The superhero, that's just the framework for the characters that you're telling people about. So people aren't getting superhero fatigue. People are getting fatigued by you not doing as well as you did in those first 2 phases.
Right.
And like time after time, we're not seeing, and even when we get a good installation in the MCU, like a Shang-Chi or something, we're still left like, okay, but how does this factor into the larger cinematic universe? Like, and you've painted yourself into the corner because you're saying that like all of these are connected, and because I'm fine with standalone stuff. I'm fine. Give me a one shot. Give me an Elseworlds or something like that. I'm fine with those things, but you have to actually manage them the right way, and they're not. It's like I have no problem if. With Moon Knight not being directly tied to any of the other shows or movies. Just do a good Moon Knight story. Do a good Spider-Man story where he's going up against Norman or he's going up, right? I don't need any world building. Just give me a good Peter Parker story. Give me a good Daredevil story. Have him going up against the Kingpin. I don't need him going, joining the Avengers and doing all. Like, it's cool when you get to see those characters interact with one another, but not at the expense of telling just a good story with that character in their own right. So give me that kind of stuff, and they just haven't been doing that because they're talking about, because like how many movies Kevin Feige say like. Look, it's the larger plan is going to be coming into view real soon. Like you're gonna see it, and it's like, well, phase
where is it? Where is it
with Wakanda Forever? And we still had no idea what the larger story was.
No,
and now we've started phase 5, and still don't know what that
is. Where is it? Like if we are talking about this,
we've just been getting honey dicked.
Yeah, like seriously, if you're talking about this thing and you're telling us, okay, it's going to come into focus, where and how is it happening? Because
I haven't seen
anything at all. Like that's what I'm saying. That's where, to me, it makes zero sense to make that statement, especially if you're making that statement and you're not even hands on. Not a knock against Kevin Feige, you know what I mean? And he, but at the same time, I just think that when his hands weren't on the project. And I believe, like, even with the Russo brothers, bro, like that, the momentum was there. They should have kept going with that momentum because they were putting out hits. you know, Falcon
and
and
they
the Winter
haven't
Soldier
been putting out hits outside of
lately.
the
Outside of it, they haven't, because again,
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to go this different route because they actually have this, you know, contract and this agreement with Netflix to put out those shows. Okay, we get it, but none of them have been successful.
I would be okay. I would be okay with you call it a phase, you know, phase 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. A phase in the MCU where there is no singular, like, larger connected story, where it's just like, look, we're gonna do a really good Daredevil, we're gonna do a really good Punisher, we're gonna do a really good Moon Knight, we're gonna do a really good Shang-Chi. Maybe there's some crossover with them, or maybe it's like, hey, these two are gonna tell like a cool combined story, and then these are single. Like, I would be fine with that if you two things. If you say that up front, like, look, we're not building for a larger story that we're slowly going to reveal to you, and then you never do. All right, say it up front, but then also deliver on making the individual pieces all quality. And that's the thing that they were hit and miss with. It's like Shang-Chi was great, and then I felt like with Thor: Love and Thunder, it felt like somebody shit in my mouth. Okay, don't do that. Nobody likes it if they get some freaks out there might, but I don't like it if somebody shits in my mouth. So please don't do it. Keep your fecal matter over there
to yourself. To yourself. There you go.
So that's what I'm saying is, like, don't do that. It's like you have to, if you want to tell the isolated stories, just be like, you know what, this is phase isn't building to anything. We're just gonna tell good stories. Like, you go and you pick up your pull list at your local shop, right? And you read a bunch of your favorite books, and they don't all fucking have to connect. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you say they're gonna connect, do it well, and give us the quality that they should be given. Right.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying I'm owed anything. I'm just saying, if you don't want to get negative criticism, then deliver on the quality, just like any other film, you know, that somebody pays their money to go see in the theater. So just that's what, like, and I feel like they're getting into this trap of every phase have to be building to an Avengers movie. Every phase has to be building to a cataclysmic event. No, they don't. Like, just tell some good stories. Tell some good stories.
They can't. It's like they can't shake that. They can't shake that.
I think, and that's the thing, is because
you're
so busy, basically, and I agree. I do agree with this really, really strongly, that I think they need to ground the heroes a little bit. Earthbound heroes, grounded in those stories, right? Because we're trying to tell these bigger, larger than life stories because you want it to be a huge spectacle. But I think the stories are more grounded in these, you know, the ground level heroes. It's more. It's richness in that, because it's a chance for you to tell the right stories. Blade is a perfect opportunity to tell, like the Midnight Suns, perfect opportunity to tell something that's more grounded. You know what I mean? If you want to get to that level. Now, I know we got to get to that point.
Ghost Rider.
You know, but it's a good way to really tell
a Spider-Man and Black Cat story. Give me a Spider-Man and Black Cat.
Something. That'll be dope. That'll be dope.
That would be dope. That would be so dope. And
there are opportunities that are available. I feel like they're shooting for the moon. I feel like they're trying to go for like massive impact rather than, you know, it's like, just go
right
back
here
and
down
think
the
about
street.
some of your best stories, you know, that you've had over the years, right? Go back and look at that Captain America Ed Brubaker run. Look at that Houston Finch run on Moon Knight. Look at the Frank Miller or the Charles Soule, which actually I think a lot of the Daredevil show, even though it's called Born Again, I think it's going to pull heavily from the Charles Soule and Zdarsky runs, actually, to be perfectly honest. But like, do that stuff. It doesn't all have to be these massive. I mean, if you look at like, even the event that they just did last year with Daredevil and stuff in, you know, they did Devil's Reign. All right. That was still localized to New York City. It was the Kingpin as the mayor, and it was like dealing with that, but like, it was still localized to New York City. It wasn't a cosmic thing. It wasn't a world ending event. It, you know, tell us more of those stories. Like, you know, and here's the thing, be like, fuck it. Like, if you need to scale back on the movies and give us, you know, like, you know, Daredevil, like 18 episode show where you're going to tell maybe a larger event, but you're going to do it over 18 episodes, and you've got a really cool larger story going over that, rather than trying to cram one of the most complex stories like Secret Wars into a single 2-3 hour movie.
It ain't gonna work.
Secret Wars would have been better as honestly if
3 movies,
it would
man.
have the budget. Well, either like a 2 movies or a trilogy, or a fucking 20 episode, hour long each TV series, where you could really dive into it. Now I know then the quality could suffer, be budgets and stuff like that, but like that's what I mean. It's like if you can't do it well, then do something else.
Do something totally different. That's
I can't wait to see what they do with like Daredevil, man. With the grounded stories.
I think that's going to be great, but I think that's what people want more. It's like, even, there were ties to the Marvels.
I don't want to see another Walk of Shame, though. No more of those.
But people loved Ms. Marvel, right? Ms. Marvel was a grounded, personal story, right?
Yeah.
Do more of that. Like, even WandaVision, even with all the magic and stuff, like that, at its core, WandaVision was a story about grief and a story about loss and dealing with that,
and that's why it was so successful and it worked good. It worked well.
It was creative in how it approached it, but it was phenomenal. You don't have to bring it. Now, I'm not. No, I think.
I don't care what nobody else says, though. I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I love that shit.
Me too, bro. That movie was. That show was good, dog.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do stories like that. You're resonating with the characters more, and it's not everything. Like, look, Guardians of the Galaxy is a great. I love it, but not everything has to be this.
Larger than life, the cosmos.
Yeah, exactly. Some stuff can just be that grounded. Like this is, and they. And
I'm scared for that movie.
To do that, they have opportunities to do that, and I'm just.
Well,
now you got Adam Warlock to deal with.
Well,
so they're gonna
a lot is hinging on that film, but at the same time, I don't want the review bombs. I don't want things like that because people are hating what James.
No, I hope it's really good.
I
can't see the dude who plays Adam Warlock though, and not see him as the skinny kid from We're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Jack the shit though.
He's big as hell now.
I know, but I'm saying I see the face and it's all like, and just like whenever I like you look at the video game, the last the Jedi Fallen, the Lost Order.
Oh, the little Joker.
Yeah,
Joker playing
Cameron Monaghan. All I see is him on Gotham as like
Gotham.
Joker. Oh, it's so fucking weird to see him as a Jedi in this. So all I can see in that dude that's playing Adam Warlock is that scrawny kid who wants to bang his stepsister from Meet the Millers.
I just hope it's not no jokey bullshit. With the whole movie, bro. Like, I hope not, bro.
It's Guardians. This is one where that's to be expected.
Yeah, that's definitely. You got a fucking talking raccoon and a tree in the movie.
It's true, yeah.
There's gonna be jokes.
Yeah.
But I think there's also gonna be some emotional weight to it because it's the end, right? It's not just James Gunn just making a fun movie. It's I'm gonna kind of like, again, whatever anybody thinks about Joss Whedon, you think about Joss Whedon, when he gets to the end of something, he always has to kill somebody. Like, he always kills, like Serenity, Firefly, Buffy, Angel, all those. He kills so many people on his shows and in his movies. So James Gunn, I think it's going to be the same way. I think there's going to be a lot of laughs, but it's going to have some emotional weight.
It's going to have some weight to it.
Because this is the end, maybe not the end of the Guardians in the MCU, but it's the end of this team of Guardians in the MCU. So people are going to die. Other people are going to move on. Maybe some stick around. New characters come in. But, like, I don't think it's not going to be just, like, joke. It's not going to be Love and Thunder.
That's what I'm afraid. I don't want it to be like Love and Thunder. Okay.
No, it's not going to be that.
I don't want to be overboard of jokes. I don't mind the Guardians with the way they tell jokes in the first two. It wasn't unbearable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now that it's the last one, Right. I'm afraid that they might go overboard. You know what I mean? And they got Adam Warlock thrown in here now, so they got to tell his story too.
I think James
I just
Gunn.
hope it's good, bro.
I think that James Gunn is going to have better control over this than what we've seen. I don't know whether how polished it's going to be. Again, if you're ending an era with the Guardians or this rendition of the Guardians, then you have to end it in a way that it's suitable and it makes sense and that people can actually gravitate to. And I think that if anything, regardless of what we think of him right now, I think he's going to pull it off. We just have to kind of wait and see. But I just want it to be at least, and I don't want, because I know what people want to say. Oh, you know what? This film was great. Okay, MCU was back. That doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that it's trial and error. This is good. It can actually be like a roller coaster, up and down type of situation. We just have to kind of wait and see. I just hope for his sake and for the MCU that they get some type of win so they can lick their wounds and get back on track.
I hope it's a win, because after that we got Marvels, and I don't have the highest level of expectations for that. So
the last two movies,
it can't be 3 strikes this year. I hope
not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm optimistic for the Marvels. For one, that like the word out is that like they lean heavily on Kamala Khan in that movie.
Okay.
But also, I like the actress who plays Monica Rambeau, and I think having them in that too, and having them.
Is she gonna have her full-time name?
Brie Larson is a really good actor. She just needs I think when she's got those other characters in there to really work with, I think that that, and that's one of the things where I do kind of, while I don't want them to go crazy scale in the MCU in general, I am kind of curious to see how they deal with Sword and Nick Fury and stuff. And so I don't know, that movie, I am kind of energized for. I'm looking forward to that. Lael's not doing his job and getting us some info from Lori, but
hey, I gotta wait until she decides to tell me shit. She ain't telling me nothing right now. She keeps saying wait, and I'm like, what do you mean wait? She's just wait, and I'm like, come on, man, you gotta tell me some shit. So Lori,
you don't like to wait.
She always making people. So I just gotta wait until she decides to open up, and maybe what, I'll get her back on the show. I'll get her back on, and we'll try to basically peel back some layers with her.
Yeah, we can all ask questions.
Yeah,
we can all jump on her.
I can't guarantee she's gonna say shit, but at least we'll get her back on to get some sense of direction, and she can tell us what's going on. So I'll talk to her and be like, "Hey, Lori, let's get you back on." So
she's gonna say that I told you the invasion was a secret, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's pretty
right.
What she's gonna say. But anyway, and I'm hoping she's in Secret Invasion. I hope she is. It would be beautiful to see her character again. So. But anyway, we're going to wind this down, guys. I don't want to go through a 2 or 3 hour show. We're going to wind it down right now because, again, it's getting late. But thank you guys for basically coming through. It's been an excellent show, excellent conversation. It was fun as fuck with the Sandman and Booty Cheek, stuff like that. Anyway.
That's me, baby.
So definitely we're going to wind it down. Biddy, what you got going on, man?
I am, just getting ready to get back started with the season, even though it's been another drop of cold. But, season coming up soon. Back to regular work this week, but I got a whole bunch of side projects I'm still gonna chip away at. So I got some art projects that will be releasing soon, and I've been obsessed with Hogwarts Legacy. So I'm looking to try to finish that up, and I've been just going in on that.
So dope.
My wife's been playing it.
It's so good. It's like, even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, it's great. But if you are, the whole game feels like. Like you're Harry in that first movie, just everything is just so much to take in. It's incredible. That's about it.
Yeah, man. But anyway, if you haven't already, Vincent Dunn Art is the link to his store is on the Instagram page. Make sure you actually go check it out.
Tons of new stuff on there.
Definitely, man. Jedi Kid, what you got going on, baby Potter Smack?
Well, I'm building my I don't know if you see it back there.
I see.
I'm building my Yeah, I'm almost done with that. My little cheaper version of the module case.
I'm going that route.
I'm almost done with it. I'm waiting for my side glass to come, and then I'll be finished with it.
Now, is the acrylic? Is it the acrylic glass?
Yeah, I got acrylic. Yeah.
Would you get it from Home Depot?
Home Depot. Yeah.
How much you pay for it?
All together, With the cuts and everything, I paid $145.
That's not bad. Did you had to measure it yourself?
Yeah, I did all my measurements myself. Everything is exact, so they cut it exact. So
all right,
look at
cool,
this dude,
cool. Because I think you got the same muscle rack that I got. You got the 5.
The 48 by 24, I think it is.
Hold on, let me see. Let me see.
48 by. Let me see. Yeah, mine's a 5 rack.
Yeah.
4 rack.
Yeah, it's 48, 24, 72.
72. Yeah, that's the one I got. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
yo,
one.
Send me your measurements.
Listen.
Damn, that's a pretty personal request.
When you first, you
the glass, bro. Send me the measurements of the damn glass, motherfucker.
You didn't say glass. I'm just.
You was
this dude.
You know what?
You gotta have your glass. I think the for the front is 48 by 16 and a half. And then the side was
pull a muscle
15 and a half by 23.
So you got the sides in the front, but the back you got the
I got the white fiberboard.
Okay, cool.
They have it. It's almost exact. If you buy from, you have to cut you have to measure it to 16 inches, and then you cut from the bottom maybe 6 inches off of it, and it'll fit in exactly.
So what I'm gonna do? I'm going to Home Depot this week, and I'm gonna bring them over there, and I'm gonna make them measure it them damn selves, bro. So they can
they got one on the floor. No, actually do it. They have it on the floor. That's how they did mine.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna make them do it so they can actually.
Yeah.
I'm just having them do it that way, bro. So it's gonna make sense. Anyway, if you haven't already, Jedi Kid, make sure that you actually get to his Instagram page. All dope photos that you'll see on Figure Flex Friday, as you always do. But also, there's a video tutorial on how to smack people properly. Yo,
that's me.
So what's going on? Butt naked.
Look at this dude, bro.
I know, bro.
You cannot take Brendan no damn where, dog.
I can't. Definitely, I can't.
Jesus.
Educational.
Damn, educational, man. What's going on, bro? Tell the people what you got going on, man.
Shit.
I'm reading a ton of books. And then
we see.
That one too.
That bat wing is fucking humongous.
I thought he said he got his bat wing from Jizzink. It's Jazzink, okay. That's just tricks of the eye, you know.
Oh God!
No,
boy,
I got. I'm looking forward to Wednesday because we got Mando back, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah. We didn't talk about The Last of Us tonight, but the episode was great, and I can't wait for the next one. The next one is gonna be balls out crazy. I'm telling you, if you are familiar with the game, you know what's coming. It's gonna be something special. So that I'm looking forward to that next week. I got my Howard the Duck omnibus by Chip Zdarsky coming in. Can't wait for that one. That's a good read. And I'm just cranking through some work this week because I'm gonna be in DC. Filming from Saturday to Wednesday, so I might be able to do Monday next week remotely from the hotel, but I don't know 100%.
Got you.
But yeah, I'll be in DC filming for a little less than a week, and then back. So yeah, just grinding away.
Definitely, awesome. Man. If you haven't already, Mr. Butt Naked on Instagram, make sure that you actually follow him. And to get all the latest and greatest. And again, like I said, thank you guys for being here. What's coming up? We got Say What Wednesday. We got Figure Flex Friday. We got Collectors Lounge on Monday. I have a video dropping for both the Vision and it's Vision and the Vision. So it's the white Vision, the regular Vision for Take Your Position. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, make sure you become a member of the Figure Flex Friday Facebook group. We're definitely trying to build that up, have some dope giveaways coming up. But again, thank you guys for basically being here, hanging with us. Again, Monday nights is always the favorite of the night. So we just sit back, talk comics all day, and definitely just enjoy discussion itself. So again,
just one suggestion for everybody watching. If you looking for another, comic book stream to check out, Sunday nights at 8:00, Comic Book Canon on YouTube, Canon with 2 N's, Comic Book Canon. A friend of mine that we had back a few months ago on the channel when Black Panther dropped. Chris from Journos Comics and Collectibles. He's taking a bit of a break for it to deal with some other stuff right now. He'll be back, but he and his co-host Jeff, they do that. It's moved back to Sunday nights at 8:00. So definitely check that out if you want. Cool conversations. He's got a different co-host, this guy Joe, in there for the time being. But they also do run contests every month where people submit their kind of fresh gets from the comic shop and stuff. Take pictures of your book or something like that. Do it creative, and they give a slab away at the end of every month. Cool comic book from a company called EGS. So it's just they're a really good group of guys. Fun comic book talk, kind of like us, but more on like some of the movie news, but then a lot on the collecting side and investing in slabs and stuff like that. Cool talk. So check them out, Comic Book Canon on YouTube if you're bored on a Sunday night.
Yeah, definitely, man. Make sure you do that. So again, thank you guys for coming through. You have a great night, great evening, and great morning wherever you are. And we'll talk to you later. See you guys next week. Peace out. Let's go.
Peace.